Chapter 491. Was it easy for her to find a corpse similar to Xian Hongyu's? Now Xian Hongyu was still complaining. Master, what should I do? Ning Shu asked with a wooden face. Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu. Put the corpse away. Why would I want to die? Ning Shu could only pick up the sack and put the corpse into it. Looking at the ashen-faced corpse, Ning Shu chanted Ba in his heart. Xian Hongyu walked to the candlestick and lit the curtain with a candle. Seeing this, Ning Shu hurriedly threw the corpse into the tunnel and jumped into it. Xian Hongyu also jumped down and covered the floor with his body. It was dark in the tunnel. Ning Shu took out a match and walked in front of Xian Hongyu while holding the sack. She said, Master, follow me. Xian Hongyu nodded. Ning Shu dragged the corpse of a man without saying a word. She was so tired that she wanted to die. She wanted to find a corpse to replace Xian Hongyu, so that people would think that Xian Hongyu was burned to death. Even if they found out later that the corpse was not Xian Hongyu, they would have run far away. But Xian Hongyu was too proud to use this method. He was more willing to let his life and death be a mystery. Ning Shu curled his lips. You have nothing now. So what if your life and death is a mystery? It's the same whether you are dead or not. Ning Shu exhaled a long breath after they got out of the tunnel. He flew up to the roof and saw the fire in the direction of the palace. The fire was so big that it lit up half the sky. The whole capital was in an uproar because of the fire in the palace. Ning Shu put the sack on his shoulder and prepared to go out. Where are you going? Xian Hongyu stood in a dilapidated room surrounded by dust and cobwebs. But he was still so handsome, and his brilliance lit up the whole room. Ning Shu said, I will put this corpse back in the memorial hall. She stole it from the memorial hall. Xian Hongyu's face was expressionless. Ning Shu carried the sack over the wall and left. When he returned, he saw Xian Hongyu sitting on a stool, propping up his chin, and looking at the flickering oil lamp on the table. Seeing that Ning Shu had returned, Xian Hongyu coldly said, When are we leaving? The security tomorrow will definitely be tight. Master, the city gate is now closed. We can only leave tomorrow morning. Ning Shu said. Xian Hongyu didn't say anything. Seeing Ning Shu standing there in a daze, Xian Hongyu said, I'm going to bed. Was he asking her to step down? Ning Shu turned around and left. 11. Where should I sleep? Xian Hongyu was somewhat angry. When Ning Shu came in, he saw that there was indeed no place to rest. Everywhere was dirty. He said, Master, it's going to be dawn soon. Bear with it and don't sleep. Xian Hongyu remained silent with a cold face. Mistress, we must disguise ourselves when we leave the city. Someone as graceful as you will definitely be recognized. Xian Hongyu still didn't say anything. Ning Shu looked at Xian Hongyu's face for a while. The originally slanted eyebrows had turned into slanted eyebrows. His face was smeared with powder, and his complexion became waxy yellow. In addition, Xian Hongyu's brocade clothes were too eye-catching. Ning Shu found a set of coarse clothes for Xian Hongyu to change into. Xian Hongyu glanced at the coarse clothes, and then glanced at Ning Shu. Ning Shu said with a serious face, Mistress, this is all to get out of the city. Please bear with it. Xian Hongyu changed into coarse gray clothes. Although the disguise wasn't very good, there were still some differences between Xian Hongyu and the previous Xian Hongyu. Ning Shu also fiddled with himself for a while. An ugly woman came out. Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu and immediately looked away. Other than necessary conversations, Xian Hongyu didn't talk to Ning Shu at all. The palace caught fire, and it was the place where the third prince lived. After a long time, they finally extinguished the fire, only to find that the third prince wasn't inside. No matter how big the fire was, it wouldn't burn a living person to death. Xian Xiaotian snorted. Sheng Guanqing Ro, who was beside him, pouted, her face full of grievance and sadness. Xian Xiaotian, you just won't believe that nothing happened between me and Xian Hongyu. How long are you going to be angry with me? Xian Xiaotian rubbed his forehead and didn't say anything. He turned and left, sending people to search for Xian Hongyu's whereabouts. Xian Xiaotian felt that Xian Hongyu was like a flea jumping around all day. He didn't even have time to deal with him, and he already caused trouble. Xian Xiaotian couldn't wait to catch Xian Hongyu and break all the bones in his body. By the time Xian Xiaotian sent people to search, Ning Shu and Xian Xiaotian had already left the capital and were sitting on a horse. Master, can you lower your head a bit? This subordinate can't see the road ahead clearly, Ning Shu said to Xian Hongyu, who was sitting in front. Xian Hongyu lowered his body slightly. Why does this prince have to sit in front? Why is there only one horse? Ning Shu held the reins in one hand and the whip in the other. This subordinate sits in the back. If there are pursuers, this subordinate can block the attack for master. There's only one horse because this subordinate can only afford one horse. Ning Shu really didn't have any money on him. The money to dig the tunnel had been gathered by Ning Shu from all over the place. He even secretly took some things from Xian Hongyu's residence to sell. Xian Hongyu, who was sitting in Ning Shu's arms, was speechless. Ning Shu planned to return to the base to see how the child was doing. Ning Shu felt a bit guilty about the child. Outside the forest, there was no way to ride a horse. They could only walk. Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu. Are we going to the training grounds? Ning Shu grunted. Although Xian Hongyu was a noble prince, he was also a person with great martial arts skills. It was very easy for him to walk through the forest. They're all dead. Why are you still alive? Xian Hongyu suddenly asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu hugged his sword and said, They said this subordinate betrayed master, and didn't let this subordinate participate in the assassination. Xian Hongyu didn't say anything. Ning Shu was very curious about what happened between Xian Hongyu and Shangguan Qingru. After all, the two of them had disappeared for a long time. Master, what happened between you and Miss Shangguan? Ning Shu asked. Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu and let out a cold chuckle. His sallow face coupled with such a smile made him look even more sinister and treacherous. Nothing happened between us. I didn't touch her. Xian Hongyu's voice was filled with satisfaction and schadenfreude. Ning Shu was speechless. Nothing happened. Why are you so happy? Crazy. This prince told Xian Xiaotian that Shangguan Qingru has a mole on her back. Xian Hongyu sneered. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu looked at Xian Hongyu strangely. How immoral would he have to be to do something like that? He purposely told Xian Xiaotian that he and Shangguan Qingru were no longer innocent. They had already done that. But Shangguan Qingru felt wronged. Nothing happened. Why didn't Xian Xiaotian believe her? Whether or not it happened, who could say for sure? Chapter 492. Ning Shu was very surprised. According to Xian Hongyu's personality, why didn't he do anything to Shangguan Qingru? Didn't Shangguan Qingru's body belong to him? Ning Shu walked in front of Xian Hongyu and asked, Master likes Miss Shangguan a lot. Xian Hongyu said calmly, I like her a lot, but she betrayed me, so I have to punish her. What your highness wants belongs completely to me. But Shangguan Qingru is already dirty, Xian Hongyu said calmly. Ning Shu, Shangguan Qingru is dirty? She's dirty just because she didn't marry you? This prince has thought of a new method. Didn't she want to live happily with Xian Xiaotian and grow old together? I want them to be suspicious of each other and have this thorn in their hearts for the rest of their lives. Xian Hongyu raised his chin slightly and said, Ning Shu, so wicked. Xian Hongyu's attitude toward Xian Xiaotian was that there was something between him and Shangguan Qingru, but he didn't touch her. No matter how Shangguan Qingru explained, no matter how she said that there was nothing going on between her and Xian Hongyu, the thorn in Xian Xiaotian's heart was already planted and couldn't be removed. Every time this topic was brought up, the thorn would be stabbed deeper. Ning Shu looked at Xian Hongyu and asked, Master really didn't do anything to Miss Shangguan? Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu. 11, you're talking too much. Ning Shu closed his mouth and didn't say anything else. The two of them passed through the forest. After walking for half a day, they finally arrived at the training ground. There was no one in the base. It was very spacious. There were some daily necessities that should last for a while. Xian Hongyu found his stone room with familiarity. This stone room was unique to Xian Hongyu. It was very big inside and had a complete set of study tables and furniture. Xian Hongyu looked at Ning Shu. 11, I'm hungry. Then I'll go hunting. Ning Shu turned around and left the cave. She quickly traversed through the forest and arrived at the she-wolf's territory. She wanted to see how the child was doing. Before Ning Shu went to the capital, The little wolves were still little wolves, but now they had grown very big. A few wolves were playing in front of the wolf den, and among them, there was a dirty child. He was crawling on the ground, crawling or sitting like a wolf, and his long hair was so dirty that it was tangled in knots. This child should be almost 1 year old, but he had no intention of walking. Instead, he crawled and walked like a wolf. He even wanted to jump like a wolf. Perhaps it was because he had been with the wolf for too long, but his eyes were a little cold. He even mimicked the wolf and bared his teeth, howling out of tune. Ning Shu walked over and picked up the child, holding him under his arm. The child was frightened by Ning Shu. Ning Shu roared and struggled violently. He even used his teeth to bite Ning Shu. Ning Shu pressed his head down to make him behave. His hand stroked the child's neck, and the child immediately became obedient, sensing danger. Ning Shu went to the riverside to wash himself. The child looked at Ning Shu and bared his teeth, showing off to Ning Shu. Ning Shu pressed his head down and pressed him into the water, looking at him coldly. The child's whimpers became softer, and he obediently let Ning Shu bathe him. But his eyes were like a wild beast's. Ning Shu washed the child clean. Other than the sword wound on his chest, there were other wounds on his body. Obviously, he had lived with the wolf and was not taken care of. There was a scar on his forehead. Ning Shu sighed. He had left the child behind because he was a rascal. Now that the matter was resolved, he naturally had to let the child return to human life. The child took advantage of the time when he was bathing himself and bit Ning Shu's wrist, not letting go. Ning Shu's face was expressionless. He pinched the tendons on the child's arm. The child did not let go at first, probably because it was too painful. The skin on his wrist was bitten, and blood was flowing out. Such a small child had a fierce strength. Ning Shu held the child under his arm, and then hunted a few rabbits for dinner. Back in the cave, Xian Hongyu saw that Ning Shu had such a big child after going out for a trip. He said lightly, "What's wrong with this child?" Seeing a stranger, the child roared at Xian Hongyu. It was a strange tune, and its voice was young. "Wolf baby." Xian Hongyu smiled, and took the child from Ning Shu. He narrowed his eyes slightly, thinking about something. The child was held by Xian Hongyu. Ning Shu whimpered softly. The tune sounded very pitiful, as if it wanted Ning Shu to save it. "I heard that people who grew up drinking animal milk are all gifted," Xian Hongyu said and glanced at the child's lower body. "I heard that the great general of the Chen kingdom is a wolf baby." The Chen kingdom was a neighbor of his own country, and the two countries were about the same strength. Ning Shu, "Master, let me take care of this child. He is very wild now." Ning Shu felt that Xian Hongyu was up to no good. Xian Hongyu held the child with both hands. "Well, I have decided to raise this child, and see what is so special about him. I will let him fight with the great general of the Chen kingdom in the future." Ning Shu scratched his head. No, Ning Shu wanted to raise the child to be normal, and then find a family for the child to live with instead of her and Xian Hongyu. But Xian Hongyu wanted to raise the child. Was he going to raise the child into a death warrior? "Master, raising a child is very difficult. Let's send him away," Ning Shu said. There was no need to raise the child into a death warrior. Xian Hongyu had nothing now, and was being chased by Xian Xiaotian. He had no capital to turn the situation around, unless he returned to his fief. Ning Shu said, "Master, are we going to the fief next?" "No hurry." Xian Hongyu put the child on the bed. The child immediately crawled to the corner, and confronted Xian Hongyu. He leaned forward and made an attacking posture. Xian Hongyu was very happy. Such a young child has such keen senses. Ning Shu touched her forehead. She regretted bringing the child back. She didn't expect Xian Hongyu to be so interested in the child. But Ning Shu didn't want to give the child to her. The child was already unfortunate, and Xian Hongyu would make it worse. "Master, I will find a family for the child tomorrow. It is not suitable for you to raise the child." Xian Hongyu raised his eyebrows and looked at Ning Shu. He said coldly, 11, are you disobeying me?" 11 is thinking for you, master," Ning Shu said indifferently. "What kind of person do you want to raise him into?" "Like I said, someone like the great general of the Chen kingdom." Xian Hongyu looked unhappy. Obviously, he was very dissatisfied with Ning Shu's disobedience. Ning Shu said. But the child needs parents. Parents? Then I will be the child's father. Xian Hongyu grinned. Obviously, he was very interested in the child and wanted to raise him. Chapter 493. Ning Shu saw that Xian Hongyu was very interested in the child. If she said anything else, Xian Hongyu would kill her. As for Xian Hongyu saying that he wanted to be the child's father, Ning Shu just spat in her heart. She suddenly felt sorry for the child. He was targeted by Xian Hongyu. His fate was full of misfortune. He almost died before, and now he fell into Xian Hongyu's hands. 11. I'm hungry. Xian Hongyu looked at Ning Shu, who stood there motionless. My son is hungry too. Fuck, you want to raise the child? You should cook for yourself. Ning Shu went out of the stone room and killed the rabbit. Considering the child, she cut the rabbit meat into cubes and mixed it with rice to make meat porridge. To be a man of sacrifice, one had to be multi-talented. Not only could he kill, but he also had to be able to cook. He had to do whatever his master wanted. The kitchen was smoky, especially in a cave. The smoke did not disperse easily. Ning Shu choked to death. She barely cooked a pot of rice. Finally, she sprinkled some salt and the porridge was ready. Xian Hongyu looked at the porridge. The rabbit meat inside was snow white. He had no appetite just by looking at it. 11. You're making this for me? It was good enough to have something to eat. Ning Shu rolled her eyes in her heart. She said shamefully, I only know how to make this. Eat it or not, forget it. Although Xian Hongyu did not like to eat, the child on the stone bed smelled the food and climbed over to look at the food in the bowl. Oh, do you like it? Xian Hongyu fed the child a spoonful. It was just out of the pot, so it was very hot. The child's lips immediately turned red. He whimpered pitifully. Ning Shu immediately poured cold water on the child. The child's mouth was already red. She did not know if it would blister. I didn't do it on purpose. Xian Hongyu said. I didn't know it was so hot. You should have tested the temperature first. Fuck off. You should at least blow on the food to test the temperature before you eat. How dare you say that you're the father of someone else? It's not easy for the child to survive. Ning Shu gave Xian Hongyu a fake smile. Xian Hongyu clasped his hands behind his back and looked away. Ning Shu held the bowl and a spoon. He blew on the meat porridge until it cooled down before feeding it to the child. The child liked it very much and ate 2 bowls in a row. For a child of his age, it was a little too much. Good appetite, Xian Hongyu said. By the way, this child should have a name now. What's a good name? Xian Hongyu went to think about the name of the child. Ning Shu ignored him and ate some meat porridge. However, the food she cooked was really not delicious. The rabbit meat had a fishy smell. Ning Shu ate 2 mouthfuls and then stopped. Xian Hongyu thought for a long time, and finally came up with a name, Xian Miexiao. Xian Miexiao. The word xiao shouldn't be what she thought it was, right? Was it really a good idea to give the child such a name? How did Xian Xiaotian feel when he heard it? Ning Shu's face twitched. He didn't know why, but Xian Hongyu's every move was asking for trouble. He looked cold and elegant, but the things he did always made Ning Shu feel disillusioned. Master, do you think this name is good? Ning Shu asked Xian Hongyu. This bastard not only asked for trouble, but also asked the child who didn't know anything to do it. Xian Hongyu's face was cold. He was very dissatisfied with Ning Shu's reaction. Does it not sound good? If Xian Miexiao doesn't sound good, let's call him Xian Tu Xiao. Ning Shu. Pfft. Although I know you hate Xian Xiaotian, you can't do this. Ning Shu felt that Xian Hongyu was doing it on purpose. Master, as long as you're happy. Ning Shu grinned. Xian Hongyu said that he wanted to raise the child. He said some obscure knowledge to the child, and the child curled up in a ball to sleep, completely ignoring Xian Hongyu. To this, Ning Shu could only say, as long as you're happy. Xian Hongyu obviously didn't have any experience in taking care of a child. All these things fell on Ning Shu's head. Ning Shu had to feed the child every day, bathe him, and let him try to stand up and walk. When he spoke, his lips were more exaggerated. He wanted the child to stop howling like a wolf. Even when he cried, it sounded like a wolf's whimper. Xian Hongyu was only responsible for holding books and educating the child. All day long, he would talk to the child about things that even Ning Shu couldn't understand. Taking care of a child was very frustrating. It made Ning Shu very frustrated, especially when the child only knew how to crawl like a wolf. He wasn't used to pulling him up, and even opened his mouth to bite people. When he was relieving himself, he wouldn't call for help. He would crawl wherever he went and poop. Then, he would be covered in feces. Ning Shu didn't know how difficult it was to raise a child. It was simply mentally and physically exhausting. When he talked to him, he was ignorant and didn't know anything. Ning Shu silently chanted the clear heart mantra. When she thought about how she was partly responsible for the child's current state, she suppressed the anxiety in her heart. After a period of feeding, the child became more familiar with Ning Shu. They were closer, but he still couldn't speak. Occasionally, Ning Shu would hold his hands. He could walk upright for 2 steps, but he couldn't walk more. There wasn't much food left in the cave. Ning Shu planned to go out to get some daily necessities. He also wanted to find out what was going on outside. Ning Shu instructed Xian Hongyu. Master, I'm going to buy some food. Xian, Mieshao, please take care of him. Xian Hongyu coldly grunted. Go ahead. I can take care of him. Ning Shu didn't believe that Xian Hongyu could take care of the child. Master. Ning Shu looked at Xian Hongyu. Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu and said as if he was doing him a favor. Go and come back early. Ning Shu. Master, I don't have money to buy anything, Ning Shu said. Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu and went to the stone room to take 2 silver ingots for Ning Shu. Go and come back early. Ning Shu took the silver ingots. Xian Hongyu was indeed rich. This was one of Xian Hongyu's dens. Buy a few dishes when you come back, Xian Hongyu said. Xian Hongyu wasn't someone who had a strong appetite. He was probably doubting his life after eating Ning Shu's food all this time. Ning Shu took the silver ingots and left. He first bought the things he needed to buy. Then he began to inquire about what happened in the capital. The news he received made Ning Shu dumbfounded. Xian Hongyu was dead. Chang'an Palace caught fire. Xian Xiaotian immediately announced that King Ding, Xian Hongyu, had been burned to death. Then Xian Hongyu had been buried. Ning Shu frowned. Xian Xiaotian's move directly cut off Xian Hongyu's escape route. Xian Hongyu could no longer return to his fief. After all, Xian Hongyu was dead. If Xian Hongyu returned to his fief, he might even be arrested. Impersonating a relative of the emperor was a serious crime. Xian Hongyu was really courting death. He lost his woman and his noble status. In the future, he wouldn't be able to say his name openly. Chapter 494. Ning Shu wasn't in the mood to buy groceries for Xian Hongyu. He bought some food and went back. Ning Shu carried the food back. As soon as he entered the stone room, he smelled a stench. Ning Shu knew that a child had pooped. Xian Hongyu stood in the corner, his body covered in black gas. He just watched the child crawl on the floor. Wherever the child crawled, the child's feces would be stained. Ning Shu was speechless. Even if he didn't wash the child, he wouldn't have messed up the room like this. Hurry up and take him away, Xian Hongyu said coldly to Ning Shu. Fuck, this is your son. His surname is Xian. Since he wanted to be a father, he had to bear the responsibility of being a father. Ning Shu put the child in the water, washed him, and placed him on the stone bed. Xian Hongyu was looking for the things Ning Shu bought. Ning Shu asked, Where are the groceries I asked you to buy? Ning Shu was still in the mood to eat at this time. She said, Master, something bad has happened. Xian Hongyu looked at Ning Shu coldly. Ning Shu told Xian Hongyu everything he heard. When Xian Hongyu heard the news, he was expressionless. Ning Shu didn't know what he was thinking. He asked, Master, what should we do now? Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu and didn't say anything. Ning Shu saw him like this, and went to cook. Xian Hongyu really didn't have anything now. No, he still had her, a loyalist and a son. Ning Shu was feeding Xian Mieshao when Xian Hongyu came out of the stone room. His expression was indifferent. He was still as handsome and cold as ever. Xian Hongyu asked Ning Shu to scoop rice for him. When Xian Hongyu ate, his every move was elegant and noble. Even in the stone room, looking at him made people feel like they were in a jade palace. Ning Shu looked at the silent Xian Hongyu and asked, Master, what should we do next? Can you stop asking me what to do? Xian Hongyu said coldly. Ning Shu pursed his lips. See, even your claws are numb. Since things were already like this, Xian Hongyu should just live an ordinary life. After all, Xian Xiaotian was the emperor. The two of them were not on the same level. If Xian Xiaotian wanted to kill Xian Hongyu, it would be a piece of cake. Master, don't talk. Xian Hongyu interrupted Ning Shu. Ning Shu could only keep his mouth shut. The next day, Xian Hongyu woke up early in the morning and said to Ning Shu, who was cooking breakfast in the smoky fire, "Clean up my face. I want to enter the city." Ning Shu asked, "Master, why did you enter the city?" 11 You talk too much, Xian Hongyu said coldly. Ning Shu pursed his lips and disguised Xian Hongyu with his poor disguise skills. Xian Hongyu was good-looking and had an elegant temperament. It was not easy for him to disguise himself. Temperament was something that was emitted from the bones. After a while it was barely possible. Ning Shu could not help but say to Xian Hongyu, "Master, it is very dangerous for you to enter the city like this. Why don't I go with you?" Ning Shu had to keep Xian Hongyu alive. At least when she left this world, Xian Hongyu would be alive. As for whether Xian Hongyu lived or died after she left, she did not care. Xian Hongyu looked coldly at Ning Shu. "What danger can there be? I am not going to barge into the palace." "You will." Ning Shu felt that with Xian Hongyu's death wish, he would definitely do such a thing. If he was caught by Xian Xiaotian, Ning Shu did not think that he could get him out again. Most likely, Xian Xiaotian would kill Xian Hongyu immediately to prevent him from causing any more trouble. Ning Shu's heart was filled with apprehension. "Don't be impulsive," Ning Shu exhorted. "Master, you must be careful." Xian Hongyu nodded and looked at Xian Miexiao who was crawling on the ground. He said, "Take care of him. I will be back soon." After Xian Hongyu left, Ning Shu felt very anxious. He was afraid that Xian Hongyu would cause trouble. Xian Hongyu finally came back in the afternoon. Seeing that he had returned safely, Ning Shu was relieved. Seeing the smile on Xian Hongyu's face, Ning Shu felt very uneasy, very uneasy. "Master, do you want to eat?" Ning Shu asked Xian Hongyu. Xian Hongyu waved his hand. Ning Shu smelled a faint smell of alcohol on him. He must have eaten outside. Ning Shu was very curious and asked, "Master, what did you do today?" 11 Are you questioning me? Xian Hongyu's face was cold. "I don't dare." Ning Shu saw that Xian Hongyu was holding back his evil intentions, but when she asked him, he wouldn't tell her. Ning Shu found an excuse to go to the city to buy some vegetables for her child. She went to the city to see what Xian Hongyu had done. Hearing that Ning Shu was going to buy things, Xian Hongyu's face darkened. He said, "Come back quickly, otherwise he will go around." The elegant young master couldn't say such vulgar words. After Ning Shu entered the city, he found that the security was tight again. Xian Hongyu's arrest warrant was hung on the city wall. The warrant said that Xian Hongyu was a fugitive. Ning Shu, what did Xian Hongyu do in the city to make Xian Xiaotian arrest him? What did he do to make Xian Xiaotian so angry? Ning Shu went to a tea house. In this kind of place, he could hear what was happening in the capital. Following that, Ning Shu heard something that made him spit out his tea. Prince Ding, who had died not long ago, was burned alive in Changel Palace by the current emperor. His body was so charred that even the previous emperor couldn't recognize him. As for why the emperor wanted to kill Prince Ding, it was because Prince Ding made a cuckold of the emperor. The empress, Shangguanqing Rou, had an affair with Prince Ding, so the emperor burned Prince Ding alive out of anger. In any case, this royal affair had spread through the streets and alleys. Even if Xian Xiaotian wanted to shut the mouths of the people, there were so many people that he couldn't stop them. Ning Shu. This matter was definitely done by Xian Hongyu. Since Xian Xiaotian wanted him dead, he would make Xian Xiaotian a cuckold. This Ning Shu didn't know what to say. He could only kneel down in front of Xian Hongyu. How could he do such a thing that hurt the enemy and hurt himself? Furthermore, Xian Hongyu was one of the people involved in this story. Xian Hongyu would only be satisfied if he dug his own grave. He really wouldn't stop digging his own grave. Not only did he want to take revenge on Xian Xiaotian by killing him, he also wanted to sow discord between Xian Xiaotian and Shangguanqing Rou. He even ruined Shangguanqing Rou's reputation. For the empress of a country to do such a thing, Shang Guanqingrou's current situation must be very bad. Even if Shang Guanqingrou was innocent, the public opinion didn't care whether she was innocent or not. The most sullen thing was that she was innocent. If she really did it, she would be willing to admit to it. But she didn't do it. It was simply mentally and physically exhausting. This was like Shang Guanqingrou being roasted alive. He finally understood why Xian Hongyu didn't want to meet Shang Guanqingrou. Chapter 495. After Xian Hongyu kidnapped Shang Guanqingrou, he didn't do anything to her. He even brought Shang Guanqingrou on a tour. Shang Guanqingrou seemed to be having a lot of fun. Shang Guanqingrou definitely didn't expect this to happen. Xian Hongyu said he wanted to destroy Shang Guanqingrou. Now, Shang Guanqingrou had already been destroyed. His obsession with Shang Guanqingrou was still in his bones. He used this method to destroy Shang Guanqingrou. This was a terrifying possessiveness. Xian Xiaotian was probably driven mad by Xian Hongyu. He used this method to make everyone uneasy. Especially now that Xian Hongyu had nothing, he wasn't afraid of anything. Ning Shu went back after buying groceries. When he returned to the mountains, he saw Xian Hongyu holding a book and talking to Xian Miexiao about profound and incomprehensible things. Thinking about the rumors in the capital, Ning Shu sucked in a toothache. Ning Shu felt that they should move. If they continued to stay like this, they would definitely be caught. Especially when Xian Hongyu was plucking a tiger's beard. Seeing Ning Shu come, Xian Miexiao actually got up from the ground and staggered towards Ning Shu. Ning Shu put down the things in his hands and caught the child who was about to fall. Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu, closed the book, and entered the stone room. Ning Shu followed behind Xian Hongyu and said to him, "Master, why don't we change places?" Ning Shu felt that they couldn't stay here any longer. Every time she went to the city to buy things, she wouldn't buy from the same store. She was afraid of exposing herself. But now the capital was no longer safe. There were so many guards and wanted posters. Fugitives were heavily rewarded regardless of whether they were dead or alive. This showed Xian Xiaotian's anger. They had to change places in such a big world. She was still in this world, which meant that the mission hadn't been completed yet. Ning Shu wanted Xian Hongyu and Xian Xiaotian to stay away from each other. If they got too close, something would happen. Xian Hongyu raised his eyebrows. "Even if we have to leave, now is not the time." Ning Shu, don't tell me you still want to see Xian Xiaotian's battered appearance, rejoicing in his misfortune. If you're really caught by Xian Xiaotian, you'll die a horrible death. After plucking the tiger's beard, he didn't run away immediately. Instead, he wanted to admire the tiger's painful expression. Ning Shu's horizons were truly broadened by this kind of suicidal behavior. "Master, don't talk." Xian Hongyu interrupted Ning Shu. "This prince is hungry." Ning Shu really wanted to slap him in the face. If people wanted to court death, there was no way to stop them. Ning Shu angrily chopped the vegetables, and then the meat, mixing them into a pot of porridge. This was the only thing she knew how to do. Stir-frying was too difficult. When the food was placed on the table, Xian Hongyu looked at the food in the bowl and shook his head helplessly. Ning Shu fed Xian Miexiao while saying to Xian Hongyu, "Master, this subordinate still thinks that we should change places. This place is too dangerous." The power of a country couldn't be underestimated. Ning Shu didn't think that they would be safe here. "Moreover, Master, you're wanted. It's precisely because I'm wanted that I have to stay here. If I leave here and interact with people frequently, I'll be recognized." Xian Hongyu said indifferently. Ning Shu was speechless. Didn't he just not want to leave? Why was he so persistent? He felt that Xian Hongyu's true love for Xian Xiaotian was. He was so persistent and kept causing trouble for Xian Xiaotian. "You mischievous little vixen." Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu and said indifferently, "If you want to leave, then leave. This prince won't force you to stay." Ning Shu wanted to leave, but when she thought of the mission, she couldn't straighten her back and say that she didn't want to play with Xian Hongyu anymore. Although she only knew how to make all kinds of things mixed with rice, Ning Shu was sure that once she left, Xian Hongyu would have to wait to eat dirt. Also, could Xian Hongyu take care of his son? Could he take care of this child just like that? Ning Shu pursed her lips and said unwillingly, "Master, you must be joking." This subordinate is Master's secret guard. How could I leave Master? Xian Hongyu nodded and instructed Ning Shu. Don't go into the city to buy things for a while. Yes. Ning Shu pursed her lips. Of course, she wouldn't go at such a critical time. Instead, she was worried that Xian Hongyu would cause trouble again. Master, don't go either. Ning Shu said to Xian Hongyu. Xian Hongyu nodded and put down his chopsticks. It's really enough to eat this every day. Next time cook some dishes with oil. Master, there's meat and vegetables in the porridge. It's very healthy. Ning Shu said. The child likes it too. It was fine as long as there was something to eat. Why did he have so many opinions? If he wanted to eat, he could make it himself. Recently, Xian Hongyu had been staying at home obediently. Sometimes he would read some obscure books to Xian Miexiao. Sometimes he would even go fishing by the river. He seemed to be very relaxed. However, Ning Shu's heart was in suspense. When she saw Xian Hongyu courting death, she was scared witless. Even if he didn't court death now, Ning Shu's heart would still be in suspense. Meeting such a master was simply the misfortune of 18 lifetimes. However, what made Ning Shu happier was that Xian Miexiao, this child, could now hold onto the stone wall and walk slowly step by step. Sometimes 1 or 2 syllables would come out of his mouth. Obviously, he was learning how to talk to Ning Shu and Xian Hongyu. She suddenly felt a sense of pride as a mother. Although Xian Hongyu recognized this child as his son, he rarely took care of him. It was always Ning Shu who took care of this child. Sometimes she could sew simple clothes, but it was hard for her, a person with a sword, to sew with an embroidery needle. All she did all day was wash, sew, cook, and do the housework. Sure enough, every world was a brand new life. However, this kind of daily life was very tiring and draining for people. A woman staying at home and taking care of everything at home was much more difficult than a man. Ning Shu hoped that when 11 came back, he would be able to find his own happiness instead of putting everything on Xian Hongyu, waiting for Xian Hongyu to assign him tasks, and standing behind Xian Hongyu without any complaints or regrets. Others treated her as a tool, but she couldn't treat herself as a tool. Humans had pain and joy. 11 had the right to find her own joy and make herself happy. Xian Hongyu's attitude towards 11 was that she was a tool. How could he have any emotions towards a tool? Even if Xian Hongyu was now in dire straits, he still acted high and mighty in front of her. Their thinking had already been fixed. Would the farmers be polite to the hoe in their hands? Therefore, Ning Shu hoped that 11 could have her own life, instead of using Xian Hongyu as her spiritual support. To be honest, a person of Xian Hongyu's status would never consider people like 11. However, a person like 11 had to risk her life for Xian Hongyu. Previously, so many shadow guards died to save Xian Hongyu, but Xian Hongyu didn't say anything. Chapter 496. In the end, Ning Shu decided to leave. The capital had been turned upside down. The guards were not only searching the city, they were also searching for Xian Hongyu. It was obvious that they were determined to catch Xian Hongyu. Xian Xiaotian had been stabbed in his sore spot. If they didn't leave, they would be caught sooner or later. However, what made Ning Shu even more frustrated was that Xian Hongyu refused to leave. The current Xian Hongyu gave Ning Shu the feeling that he didn't care about life or death. It was as if he didn't care about anything. It made him gnash his teeth in hatred. Ning Shu was burning with impatience. He couldn't calm down even when he was doing the college entrance exam. Ning Shu looked at the leisurely Xian Hongyu. Since you don't want to leave, I can only use force. For the sake of his mission, Ning Shu decided to give it his all. If it wasn't for the mission, Ning Shu would definitely laugh and watch Xian Hongyu court death. Ning Shu sneered as he touched the medicinal powder in his arms. Under the moonlight, Ning Shu drove the horse carriage on the road. He already had a destination in mind. Ning Shu lifted the curtain and looked at Xian Hongyu and Xian Miexiao who were sleeping in the carriage. I was talking nicely to you, but you didn't listen and forced me to use force. If this wasn't despicable, then what was? Ning Shu didn't close his eyes for the entire night. He drove the horse carriage, thinking that it would be better to get as far away from the capital as possible. When the sun was about to rise, Ning Shu stopped to let the horse rest. He also lit a fire to make some breakfast. What kind of place is this? Xian Hongyu came out of the horse carriage. When he came out, his head hit the carriage and his body staggered. Xian Hongyu rubbed his groggy head and looked around. Ning Shu questioned, 11, what are you doing? You are offending your superior, Xian Hongyu said coldly as he looked at Ning Shu. His eyes were narrowed, and there was a murderous aura in them. This subordinate is thinking for master's safety. There are already people coming from the surroundings of the training grounds. If we don't leave, we will definitely be captured. Ning Shu explained. There were only 2 of them, and Xian Xiaotian had thousands of soldiers and horses. How could they win? Xian Hongyu didn't care about his own life, but Ning Shu had to ensure Xian Hongyu's survival. If he didn't complete his mission, he would be obliterated. Damn, it's really hard to protect someone who's always looking for trouble. Xian Hongyu coldly stared at Ning Shu. He walked over and said to Ning Shu, I'm thirsty, pour me a cup of water. Ning Shu went to the carriage to get a bowl. He poured some water from the water bag and handed it to Xian Hongyu. Xian Hongyu reached out to take the bowl, but when he saw his hand, he was instantly stunned. He stared at his hand in a daze. Xian Hongyu's jade-white hand had many oval-shaped sores, and these sores were emitting yellow water. Xian Hongyu was incomparably shocked. He turned his hand over and over and looked at it. How did his hand become like this when he woke up? When he touched his face, there were these things on his face. What happened? Xian Hongyu's expression was confused and shocked, as if he had been frightened. Ning Shu's expression was very sad. He opened his mouth and finally said, Master, you have leprosy. Impossible. Xian Hongyu refuted without thinking. Impossible, how could I have leprosy? Xian Hongyu looked at Ning Shu. What did you do to me? This subordinate didn't. Ning Shu hurriedly shook his head. This subordinate only put some aphrodisiac in Master's food. I really don't know why Master is like this. Master, did you eat something strange? Ning Shu's face was serious and loyal. Master, when we reach the next town, let's find a doctor to take a look. Xian Hongyu frowned tightly, his face trembling. He looked as if he was about to collapse. He looked at Ning Shu. You must have done something to me. This subordinate really didn't. Why would this subordinate do such a disgraceful thing to Master? Ning Shu was very serious. Furthermore, this subordinate doesn't have the ability to do so. Xian Hongyu frowned tightly and lowered his head slightly. For a moment he was somewhat dispirited. In this era, leprosy was an incurable disease. Alright, since it's like this, let's go back. Go back to the capital, Xian Hongyu said indifferently. Ning Shu. Could it be that he felt that he didn't have long to live, and simply let Xian Xiaotian catch him, and then pass the leprosy disease to Xian Xiaotian? Ning Shu's mouth twitched. Master, the capital isn't safe now. There are many miraculous doctors in this world. Your leprosy will definitely be cured. Master, even if you have leprosy, we have to be strong. Ning Shu encouraged Xian Hongyu. Xian Hongyu looked at Ning Shu indifferently. Did you poison me? Xian Hongyu couldn't believe that he had leprosy, because he had never come into contact with a leper before. How could he suddenly have leprosy? Ning Shu hurriedly shook his head. Master, this subordinate really has no reason to do so. This subordinate is loyal to Master, and would never do such a disgraceful thing. This subordinate doesn't know what kind of poison can cause syphilis, no leprosy. Since I have leprosy, why aren't you afraid of me? This thing is contagious. Xian Hongyu looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu immediately puffed out his chest and firmly said, This subordinate is Master's death soldier. I live for Master and die for Master. I will climb a mountain of swords and dive into a sea of fire for Master. Even if Master has leprosy, this subordinate is not afraid. Xian Hongyu laughed coldly, coupled with his face full of eczema. It was needless to say how horrifying it was. Seeing such a peerless face ruined like this, Ning Shu silently looked away and chanted Ba in his heart. It was a tragedy that such a beautiful thing was destroyed. Xian Hongyu turned his hand over and looked at it with an indifferent expression. Ning Shu was afraid that Xian Hongyu would take things too hard and asked, Master, how do you feel now? Is it itchy? Even if it's itchy, don't scratch it. If you scratch it, it will fester. Master, Wait until we reach the city and find a doctor to take a look. While you're at it, ask about miraculous doctors, and then this subordinate will take you to find one. Master, please don't scratch it if it's itchy, Ning Shu said again. Xian Hongyu didn't feel anything before, but now that he heard Ning Shu say the word itchy, he suddenly felt itchy all over his body. He couldn't help but want to scratch it. Master, please don't scratch it. Ning Shu immediately stopped Xian Hongyu. Master, just bear with it. Even if it's itchy, don't scratch it. The more you scratch, the itchier it will be. You shut up. The more you say, the itchier it will be. Xian Hongyu growled at Ning Shu. Ning Shu immediately shut his mouth. Ning Shu took out a cloak from the carriage and said to Xian Hongyu, Master, leprosy can't be exposed to the wind. Wear this cloak. Xian Hongyu sneered. You even prepared a cloak. 11. If you don't have a guilty conscience, this prince will kill himself. Ning Shu took the cloak and said with a face full of grievance, Master, this subordinate really doesn't have a guilty conscience. I'm wearing this cloak because Master is too handsome. Wearing this cloak will cover up your peerless beauty. Chapter 497. Xian Hongyu put on a cloak and wrapped himself up tightly. Even his face was covered by the black veil hanging down from his hat. Where are we going? Xian Hongyu glanced at Ning Shu through the black veil. I was planning to go to the towns around His Highness's fief. Now that something like this has happened to His Highness, I've decided to bring you there to treat your illness, Ning Shu said seriously. Xian Hongyu remained silent. The black veil covered his face, and his expression couldn't be seen clearly. Xian Miexiao woke up in the carriage. Ning Shu carried Xian Miexiao down and fed him something. Xian Hongyu sat on the other side of the bonfire, further away from Ning Shu and Xian Miexiao. Master, it's okay. I'll apply some mugwort leaf juice on the child later. It won't be so easy to get infected, Ning Shu said. Xian Hongyu only nodded. Don't look for a doctor. Let's go back to the capital, Xian Hongyu said. Ning Shu. Pfft, this person was simply crazy. Why? Master, if you go back like this, you'll only make the people who are laughing at you happy. Master, what you need to do now is to cure Mei Pui leprosy. Master will definitely make a comeback. Ning Shu didn't want Xian Hongyu to go back. Xian Hongyu didn't say anything. Ning Shu took it that he agreed. Ning Shu applied mugwort leaf juice on Xian Miexiao's body. He said to Xian Hongyu, who was standing there like a wooden stake, Master, let's go. Xian Hongyu didn't enter the carriage. Instead, he sat beside Ning Shu. Xian Miexiao was the only child in the carriage. Clearly, Xian Hongyu was afraid that he would pass the leprosy to the child if he got close to Xian Hongyu. Ning Shu shouted and waved her whip. She glanced at Xian Hongyu from the corner of her eyes. The black veil covered his face, so that Ning Shu could not see his expression. Ning Shu felt that under the black veil was a lifeless face. He really wanted to see it. Master, don't talk. Xian Hongyu didn't want to talk. Ning Shu pursed his lips. Ning Shu traveled at a leisurely pace. After a night's work, he was now quite a distance away from the capital. As Ning Shu steered the horse, he lifted the curtains to look at the child in the carriage. After a while, Xian Miexiao fell asleep again. Swoosh! Suddenly, a sharp wooden stick flew from the side of the road towards the wheel. Ning Shu pulled the reins and swung the whip, entangling the wooden stick and throwing it to the side. Hand over all your valuables. Many people appeared on the side of the road. Each of them was holding a broadsword in their hands. Their faces were filled with the aura of bandits and ferocity. They had encountered bandits. Yo, there's also a little girl. Although she's a little ugly, she's still a woman. One of the bandits looked at Ning Shu, and then at Xian Hongyu, who was covered from head to toe. He said to the leader, Boss, this person is covered so tightly. If he's not a beauty, then he's an ugly freak. Capture him. The bandit secretly looked at Xian Hongyu with a lustful gaze. Let me have a taste first. Xian Hongyu had a noble aura. Even if his entire body was covered, he still made people feel that he was inviolable. Ning Shu was speechless. Damn, he was treating Xian Hongyu as a woman. How could a woman have such a big frame and not remember anything? It was probably because of the dangerous atmosphere outside that Xian Miexiao, who was in the carriage, became restless and impatient. He couldn't stop crying. There's also a child. The bandit leader licked his lips. He looked a little frightening. Before Ning Shu could take action, Xian Hongyu reached out and took the whip from Ning Shu's hand. He got off the carriage and walked to the bandit leader. He whipped the bandit leader fiercely. When the other bandits saw this, they wanted to go up and support their boss. Xian Hongyu was not in a hurry. Facing the bandits who rushed over, he wrapped his whip around them and directly threw them out. The bandits who were thrown out hit the tree trunk and immediately couldn't get up. They vomited blood from their mouths. When the bandit saw how fierce this beauty was, he didn't dare to rush forward. He could only watch as his head was whipped. The bandit leader couldn't run even if he wanted to. Every time he tried to run, he would be whipped back. Xian Hongyu swung the whip unhurriedly, but every time the whip landed on the bandit leader's body, the bandit leader would cry out in pain. Ning Shu felt that Xian Hongyu was venting his anger on this unlucky bandit. The sound of the whip whistling through the air was chilling. The other bandits didn't dare to get close to Xian Hongyu. They rushed over to Ning Shu, wanting to control Ning Shu. Ning Shu drew his sword and killed the people who rushed over. These people relied on robbing for a living. Not only did they want money, but they also wanted lives. Ning Shu's actions were swift, so the other bandits didn't dare to rush forward. Xian Hongyu whipped the bandit leader to death. Some parts of his skin were torn, revealing the white bones. After whipping the bandit leader to death, Xian Hongyu looked at the bandits. Even though they were separated by a black veil, when Xian Hongyu's gaze swept over the bandits, they couldn't help but shiver and run away. Xian Hongyu chased after the bandits, obviously wanting to kill them all. Ning Shu called out for her master, but Xian Hongyu ignored her and chased after her. Ning Shu could only wait for him to come back. Then, she comforted the crying Xian Miexiao and gave Xian Hongyu some jerky to grind his teeth. After a while, Ning Shu leaned on the carriage and almost fell asleep. He didn't sleep the whole night, but after a while, Xian Hongyu still didn't come back. Ning Shu felt that something was wrong. Ning Shu was shocked. She immediately turned the horse around and ran back. Xian Hongyu definitely took the opportunity to escape. After running for a while, Ning Shu finally saw Xian Hongyu in a cloak. Xian Hongyu looked back at Ning Shu and quickened his pace. However, his 2 legs couldn't compare to the 4 legs of a horse. "Master, where are you going?" Ning Shu asked Xian Hongyu lightly. Xian Hongyu said, "I thought about it and still think that I should go back to the capital. The doctors in the capital are better than those barefoot doctors in the countryside." Haha. Ning Shu gave a fake smile and said, "Master, do you want to be covered in blisters or infected with leprosy? You can't even go through the city gate. How are you going to see a doctor?" Ning Shu was really speechless that Xian Hongyu had to run to the capital. "Master, don't give up on the treatment. Don't drag it out. If you drag it out, the treatment will be troublesome. Master, don't be stubborn." Ning Shu looked at Xian Hongyu. Ning Shu patted the carriage. "Master, get on." Xian Hongyu didn't move and ignored Ning Shu. Ning Shu said again, "Master, are you itchy?" Xian Hongyu's body moved, as if he was itching. In the end, he sat beside Ning Shu. He gave off a cold aura and didn't say a word. Ning Shu glanced at him and turned the horse around. Ning Shu, who hadn't slept the whole night, was a bit sleepy. Xian Hongyu had already scared her awake. She had to follow Xian Hongyu closely from now on. "Master, why are you in such a hurry to go back to the capital?" Ning Shu asked. Xian Hongyu snorted and said, "I have to go back and see how Shengguanqing Ro is doing." "What does it have to do with you?" If Shengguanqing Ro saw Xian Hongyu, she would probably take him down with her. Chapter 498. After walking for a long time, they finally arrived at a small town. Ning Shu saw a wanted poster for Xian Hongyu at the entrance of the town. Was he going to be wanted all over the country? This time, Xian Shoutian was really pissed off. Seeing the wanted poster, Xian Hongyu didn't say anything, as if he didn't care at all. When the carriage was about to enter the city, it was stopped. The guard said to Xian Hongyu, who was completely covered, "Take off your hat." Ning Shu hurriedly said, "Sir, this is my master. Because he is sick, he has been seeking treatment everywhere. It is really inconvenient for him to take off his hat. No, there are rules above. Anyone who wants to enter has to be checked, the guard said mercilessly. Ning Shu had no choice but to grab Xian Hongyu's arm and lift up Xian Hongyu's sleeve, revealing an arm full of pus. When the guard saw the arm, he hurriedly retreated and covered his mouth. Ning Shu waved his hand and said, "Go in, go in." "Thank you, sir." Ning Shu whipped the horse and entered the city. Once in the city, Ning Shu first went to the medical hall. The doctors there all said that it was leprosy. Xian Hongyu pursed his lips and didn't say anything. He put on his hat, but there was a sense of desolation all over his body. Ning Shu said firmly, "Master, you will get better." Xian Hongyu didn't say anything. Ning Shu carried Xian Miexiao and started to shop. He bought tiger cubs and candied haws for Xian Miexiao. Xian Hongyu followed behind Ning Shu silently. Ning Shu gave a stick of candied haws to Xian Hongyu. Xian Hongyu said coldly, "I don't eat this kind of thing. Anyway, you are going to die. What's the loss in trying it?" Master, I said something wrong." Xian Hongyu's eyes were cold through the black veil. He took the stick of candied haws from Ning Shu's hand and held it in his hand without eating it. "I want to return to the capital," Xian Hongyu said. Ning Shu ignored him and bought some rouge and face powder from a small stall. These things were all for disguise. Then he went into the shop to buy clothes and shoes for Xian Miexiao, as well as clothes for Xian Hongyu. Xian Hongyu had to change his clothes frequently. Xian Hongyu followed Ning Shu and said, "I want to go back to the capital." "Go back to the capital?" "Master, let's talk about this later. Let this subordinate buy the things." Ning Shu bought some dry food and salt. Xian Hongyu said coldly, 11, you've got guts now. You even dare to disobey my orders. Do you think you can escape from my control, just because I have nothing left?" "Master, I don't think so. No matter what I do, I want you to live. It's all for your safety. Even if you want to kill me, I will still do it," Ning Shu said. After buying the things, Ning Shu left the city. It was already dark, so they could only spend the night outside. "Why don't you spend the night in the inn?" Xian Hongyu asked coldly. Ning Shu said, "Master, the inn won't accept us in such a situation." Xian Hongyu took off his hat, revealing a head of beautiful black hair. However, his face wasn't very good-looking. However, his facial features were still very exquisite, and his foundation was good. Even if his face was full of pustules, he wouldn't be too ugly. "What are you looking at? There's no one here. It's too hot for me to wear a hat," Xian Hongyu said as he fanned himself with his hat. Ning Shu didn't say anything. He helped Xian Miexiao apply some mosquito-repellent medicine. There were many mosquitoes in the wild, but he didn't know how long this kind of life would last. Ning Shu had no choice but to drag Xian Hongyu around. Actually, it wasn't bad to run around. He could see the local customs and customs of various places. This kind of life was very good. "Master, I've heard that there's a godly doctor in the western region with superb medical skills. Master's leprosy will definitely be cured. Master, let's go to the western region," Ning Shu said to Xian Hongyu. Xian Hongyu stopped fanning himself with his hat. There was anger between his brows. "Are you sure that I'll still be alive when we reach the western region?" "I'm sure." Ning Shu nodded. Xian Hongyu was speechless. Xian Hongyu fanned himself with his hat. Finally, he said to Ning Shu, "I've decided to go back to the capital." Ning Shu poured a bowl of medicine for Xian Hongyu. He handed it to Xian Hongyu and said, "Master, it's time to take your medicine." "Master, your condition doesn't look serious now. However, in the later stages, your eyes will be corroded and your skin will fester. Master, when we find a godly doctor, you'll be cured completely," Ning Shu said calmly. Xian Hongyu looked coldly at Ning Shu. He held his breath and drank the bowl of medicine. At night, Xian Hongyu slept in the carriage. Ning Shu squatted on a tree. He practiced his ultimate martial arts while paying attention to Xian Hongyu. Just like that, Ning Shu and Xian Hongyu walked and stopped as they headed towards the western region. Xian Miexiao was forced to follow Ning Shu and Xian Hongyu and live in the open. However, Xian Miexiao could now call Xian Hongyu father. He could occasionally say simple words and walk slowly. Xian Hongyu seemed to have found a joy in the boring journey. He taught Xian Miexiao, who had just learned how to call him father, how to speak. He made Xian Miexiao repeat what he said, regardless of whether Xian Miexiao could understand. Xian Hongyu shook his head with a look of disappointment. He said that the great general of the Qin country was very smart. Ningxu was speechless. After a while, Xian Hongyu stopped complaining about going back to the capital. He probably felt that it was too far away from the capital. Besides, there was no point in going back. Every time they passed by a town, Ningxu had to go in to replenish his daily necessities. Every time they entered the city, Ningxu would lift Xian Hongyu's arm and reveal the pustules on it. He would say that his young master was here to see a doctor. Xian Hongyu was disgusted at first, but after a while, he let it go. Xian Hongyu said that Ningxu would get retribution for using a dying person like this. Ningxu was speechless. Xian Hongyu still believed in retribution? Because Ningxu brewed medicine for Xian Hongyu every day, Xian Hongyu's leprosy was maintained in a neither bad state. It didn't worsen. Along the way, Ningxu and Xian Hongyu saw a lot. They passed by grasslands and saw herds of cows and sheep. They arrived at Sand City. The houses here were all made of mud. There was also an endless desert. They walked from summer to winter, and then to summer. Xian Xiaotian could speak clearly and concisely. They changed horses many times, and a few carriages were worn out. Traveling in ancient times was really slow. Every time they saw a different scenery, Ningxu's heart was very calm. His heart was very smooth. From the small bridge, flowing water, and houses to the lonely smoke in the desert, it was simply a spiritual cleansing. Xian Hongyu sometimes didn't even wear a hat, and directly showed his face. The current Xian Hongyu looked more carefree than before. Although traveling was difficult, it had its own flavor. Seeing the shocking scenery, it was all worth it. Chapter 499. Not knowing the situation in the capital, Ningxu felt that after such a long time, Xian Xiaotian should have given up looking for Xian Hongyu. After all, it had been almost a year. They had already reached the western region. The western region was just a general term. As for where the godly doctor was, no one knew. Xian Hongyu was not in a hurry. Ningxu would ask about the godly doctor whenever he had nothing to do. Ningxu asked Xian Hongyu, "Master, do you still want to know about Shengguanqing Rou?" "Of course," Xian Hongyu said matter-of-factly. Ningxu, she should not have asked. 11. How do you think Shengguanqing Rou and Xian Xiaotian are doing now? Xian Hongyu chatted with Ningxu. A nation's mother was labeled as having lost her chastity. The civil and military officials would not let such a woman, with a ruined reputation, become the head of the harem. Shengguanqing Rou's situation was not very good. It depended on whether Xian Xiaotian could withstand the pressure of the outside world for her. Only by withstanding the impact of reality could love grow strong. However, more often than not, love would be defeated by the cruel reality, especially when Xian Xiaotian was the ruler of a nation. To protect his throne, he had to make some sacrifices. Who knew if Xian Xiaotian would sacrifice his love with Shengguanqing Rou? Love was an illusory and fragile thing. Even if you fell in love with someone with a look, it would dissipate quickly. It was like a mirage. What Ningxu wanted was not to have someone by his side who loved him, but to be able to live freely in the thousands of worlds. To be able to live forever. To be able to see the clouds in every world. Especially after seeing Xian Hongyu, Ningxu felt that being a single dog was pretty good. Meeting someone like Xian Hongyu, life was basically a big pain in the ass. She, as Xian Hongyu's subordinate, was already so miserable. She wondered how Shengguanqing Rou felt. "This subordinate does not know how Miss Shengguan is doing?" Ningxu said with a grin. Xian Hongyu sat in the carriage and used his hand to support his chin. His hair was loose and occasionally, it would be swept up by the wind. His back was like a killer, and his face was full of bumps. This prince wishes for Shengguanqing Rou to be the empress forever. Ningxu glanced at him. Did he finally find his conscience? This way, they can torture each other for the rest of their lives, Xian Hongyu said. Ningxu, how wicked. Master, can you stand Miss Shengguan being with other people? Ningxu asked. This was not Xian Hongyu's character. Xian Hongyu glanced at Ningxu and indifferently said, "Of course not." Even if you want to torture each other, you still have to do it with me. There was nothing to talk about with the lunatic. Ning Shu managed to find out the whereabouts of the godly doctor. The godly doctor was an old man with a white beard. His hands were trembling when he took Xian Hongyu's pulse. After taking Xian Hongyu's pulse, he gave Xian Hongyu a prescription without hesitation and asked Xian Hongyu to drink it 3 times a day. Xian Hongyu did not like this godly doctor. He came all the way here to see this godly doctor. Ning Shu kept the prescription and brewed medicine for Xian Hongyu every day. He had 3 meals a day, and each meal was a big bowl, which made Xian Hongyu's face turn green. It did not seem to have any effect. Go to Jiang province, Xian Hongyu said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu was curious and asked, "Why are you going to Jiang province?" Xian Hongyu squinted his eyes and rubbed something in his hand. It was a bronze tiger-shaped object. Ning Shu looked at the object in his hand and was stunned. If he was not wrong, Xian Hongyu was holding a commander's seal. He still has this. No wonder Xian Xiaotian was looking for him. It was not only because of Shengguan Qingro, but also because of the commander's seal. Ning Shu rushed to his next destination, Jiang province. Running around every day, Ning Shu felt that he had aged a lot. His hands were already thick, but now they were even thicker. When he washed his face, it hurt. Ning Shu was confused. Xian Hongyu was already dead. Even if he had the commander's seal, what use would it be? Ning Shu wanted to ask, but it was best not to ask about such confidential matters. Seeing that Xian Hongyu was no longer heading to the capital, Ning Shu would add some antidote every time he boiled medicine for Xian Hongyu, allowing him to slowly recover. Xian Hongyu saw some pustules forming on his body and was surprised. That old godly doctor actually had some skills? He rushed all the way to Jiang province. Xian Hongyu used some unknown method to take over the Jiang province army. Then, using his identity as Prince Ding, he questioned Xian Xiaotian. He said that the empress, Shengguan Qingro, was promiscuous and unfit to be the mother of a nation. He said that the empress must be deposed, or else he would lead the Jiang province army to attack the capital. Ning Shu. Oh, hearing Xian Hongyu's declaration, Ning Shu did not know how Xian Hongyu's face grew. The empress was promiscuous, but how good were you? You had an affair with your own sister-in-law. You were the person involved in this story, right? You even used this reason to threaten Xian Xiaotian. Where was your face? Xian Xiaotian did not use this reason to kill you, but you actually said that the empress, Shengguan Qingro, was promiscuous. She had never seen such a shameless person. In the capital, Xian Xiaotian was probably vomiting blood from anger. Shengguan Qingro's situation was not good to begin with. She was able to sit on the empress's seat because Xian Xiaotian had true feelings for her. But Xian Hongyu did not want to see her living a good life. By issuing such a declaration, he tore open the wound that should have been covered. Ding, quest completed. Do you wish to leave the quest world? 2333's voice sounded. Ning Shu said, "Wait a moment." Ning Shu put all the antidote in the bowl and gave it to Xian Hongyu to drink. After drinking this bowl of medicine, the pustules on Xian Hongyu's body should disappear. Ning Shu patted Xian Miexiao's head. If Xian Miexiao could live with 11, and let 11 experience the life of a normal person, it would be good. 2333, leave the world. Ning Shu said to 2333 in his mind. This mission was considered complete. Now that Xian Hongyu had the Jiang province army and a shield in his hands, Xian Hongyu wouldn't die so easily with an army in his hands. In fact, Xian Hongyu had hidden himself well. Where did he get the commander's seal? Xian Hongyu and Xian Xiaotian were both members of the royal family. Everything they did had their own goals. But poor Shengguan Qingro, who had a free spirit, did not even understand the twists and turns. Xian Hongyu wanted to be the emperor, but the old emperor passed the throne to Xian Xiaotian. Xian Hongyu was also chased out of the capital by the old emperor. Xian Hongyu used Shengguan Qingro's matter to lead an army into the capital. Before, because of Shengguan Qingro, the battle between the crown prince, Xian Hongyu and Xian Xiaotian started. Now because of Shengguan Qingro, the battle between Xian Hongyu and Xian Xiaotian was in full swing. Fighting for power, killing, and lust all needed a gentle mask. Shangguan Qingro did not control the country. Instead, she became an excuse and target for men. Ningxu felt dizzy. Goodbye, Xianhongyu. No, never again. Chapter 500. Ningxu was in a trance for a moment. When he opened his eyes, he was already in the system space. Ningxu raised his hand and looked at it. He didn't consume much of his soul. In the future, the damage to his soul from doing missions should be less and less. Let's look at the points this time. Ningxu said to 2333. Also, thank you for the fake death medicine. After Ningxu finished speaking, a status panel appeared in front of him. Number 23333 name. Ningxu beginner mission taker. Age 27 points. 650 000/200 000 soul. 200 HP, 60 wisdom, 115 charm, 3 luck, 34 MP, 120 force, 65 faith, 113 qualifications, 31 merit, 36 skills. 5th ring spear technique, trash fighting technique, beginner level martial arts, beginner level business management knowledge, honorable title. Wargid's selfless ancestor aura. Mother of the world, queen's blessing. Model worker, Chenshi's blessing. Leader aura, grass blessing. Best friend for life, Meow. Meow Meow's blessing. Fulfill 11's wish. Protect the master, keep the master alive. Mission completion, 100. Obtain 200,000 points, 20 attribute points and 3 points of faith. The mission points this time were average, and the difficulty of the mission wasn't that high. It only required her to ensure Xianhongyu's life. Ningxu's method was to drag Xianhongyu far away if he couldn't win. It could be considered as barely completing the mission. The difference between two people and a country's strength was like an ant and an elephant. Ningxu was very satisfied with the points. After obtaining 20 attribute points, Ningxu added them to his wisdom, force and luck. Ningxu inexplicably felt that her character was very bad, and that her luck was always bad. Number 23333 name. Ningxu beginner mission taker. Age 27 points. 850 000 soul. 200 HP. 60 wisdom. 1155 charm. 3 luck. 3410 spirit. 120 force. 655 faith. 14 qualifications. 31 merit. 36 skills. 5th ring spear technique. Trash fighting technique. Basic peerless martial arts. Basic business management knowledge. Honorary title. Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Aura. Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing. Sister Model Worker, Chenshi's Blessing. Leader Aura, Grass Blessing. Lifelong Best Friend, Meow Meow Meow's Blessing. After setting up the attribute values, Ningxu sat cross-legged on the sofa and started cultivating. After he finished cultivating, Ningxu said, I'll go to the virtual space to take a look. Ningxu wanted to interact more with the other task takers. He wanted to know how the other task takers completed their missions. Ningxu felt that it was a little difficult to complete the mission now. He was still in the same place, and he didn't have many points. If this continued, when would he become an intermediate task taker? Ningxu stood at the entrance of the virtual space and felt a strong sense of weightlessness. When he opened his eyes, he was already in the virtual space city. Looking at the bustling city, there were mission enforcers coming and going. There were so many people, but Ningxu didn't recognize a single person. In life, it was hard to find a confidant and a lover. If he didn't have friends and lovers, then so be it. When he had friends and lovers, everyone had different thoughts. When there was friction, he had to compromise and compromise. Ningxu wandered around the city and looked at all kinds of items. However, the exchange requirements were different. Some required points, some required merit points, and some required faith. Ningxu just looked around. There were many things he couldn't afford. He didn't have many points to begin with, and he still needed 3 million to become an intermediate task taker. Above the intermediate task taker, there was the advanced task taker, and above the advanced task taker, there was the super task taker. As for what was above that, with Ningxu's shallow knowledge, he didn't know. Ningxu wandered for a while and felt that it was a little boring. There was no one he could talk to here, and he didn't know a single person. He planned to go back, but at the corner of the street he saw a shop. The name of the shop was Affairs Consultation Room. Ning Shu thought for a while and walked into the consultation room. There was agarwood in the consultation room. Even in his soul state, when he smelled it, he felt a cooling feeling enter his soul, calming his anxious mood. Ning Shu's nose twitched as she inhaled the fragrance of the agarwood. A man walked out. He had long silver hair that was tied up. He was very tall and had fair skin. His facial features had an unusual beauty to them. His facial features weren't very good-looking, but when put together, they gave off a very beautiful feeling. He had a book in his hand. He glanced at Ning Shu and said, "Have a seat." His voice was very cold. He wasn't very enthusiastic about Ning Shu as a guest, and his attitude was indifferent. Ning Shu sat across from him. The man lowered his head and flipped through the book in his hand. He didn't raise his head and asked Ning Shu, "What do you want to ask?" "I just want to ask how I can increase my points when doing missions," Ning Shu said. She felt that she had reached a bottleneck. The man raised his head to look at Ning Shu. When he moved, his silver hair reflected the silver light. The man closed the book and said indifferently, "The client offers half of his soul power, or even more of his soul. What is it for? Is it to change his tragic life and obtain happiness?" Ning Shu said, "What kind of life is considered a happy life? What kind of life is considered a successful life? Power, money, status, reputation. Achieving one of these is considered a successful life," the man said. Ning Shu looked at the man. "Can you be more straightforward? In other words, not only do you have to fulfill the client's wish, but you also have to seek a happy life for the client. Or what kind of person the client wants to be. You have to do your best to help them become that kind of person. For example, your client likes to draw and wants to become an artist. If you complete this kind of hidden counterattack mission, you will naturally have a lot of points. Power, money, status, reputation. If you achieve one of these, it will be considered a successful counterattack." The man explained to Ning Shu in detail. Ning Shu suddenly understood. So that was how it was. Sometimes she felt that her points were very high, but sometimes they weren't. However, just fulfilling the client's wish wasn't considered a successful counterattack. If your points are low, it means that the client has offered less souls. If the points are low, it means that the client isn't satisfied with your mission. She might even offer another soul and ask other mission takers to help her counterattack. Ning Shu nodded. She more or less understood. "Thank you," Ning Shu said gratefully to the man. "No need. The reward is 300,000 points," the man said calmly. Ning Shu. Chapter 501. Ning Shu was scared out of his wits when he heard that a few sentences would cost him 300,000 points. "Fuck, why don't you just rob a bank? Isn't this reward a bit high?" Ning Shu said embarrassedly. The man raised his eyebrows. "You want to go back on your word?" Ning Shu, so painful. "Don't think that it's just a few sentences. This is the conclusion of many mission enforcers. Do you think these words aren't worth 300,000 points?" The man crossed his arms and looked at Ning Shu. His posture was like an ancient British aristocrat. Ning Shu could only pay the bill. He didn't have many points to begin with. Just like that, he used up 300,000 points. Ning Shu's heart ached so much that his whole body trembled. After playing around for a while, he actually used up so many points. As soon as he left the affairs consultation room, Ning Shu felt that his soul was floating. Forget it, these points were worth it. At least Ning Shu had found a new goal to strive for. Come on. Ning Shu cheered himself on with trembling lips. Ning Shu planned to go to a restaurant and eat to relieve his stifled mood. Ning Shu turned around and walked towards the restaurant. A man in black suddenly appeared in Ning Shu's eyes. This man was tall and straight with a pair of extremely long legs. He wore a black trench coat. When he walked, the wind slightly rolled up the corners of his coat. He looked incomparably ascetic and sexy. The man walked in front with many people following behind him. Beside him, a person was saying something to him. His expression was indifferent. Only his glasses occasionally reflected a cold light. Ning Shu almost screamed. "Isn't this the school doctor, uncle?" Ning Shu's lips moved twice. He wanted to say something. His feet moved twice before he finally stopped. The school doctor uncle indifferently walked past Ning Shu. He glanced at Ning Shu and moved away without stopping. Ning Shu felt a chill when the school doctor walked past him. It made him feel like his soul was frozen. Ning Shu looked at the back of the school doctor, his heart full of doubts. Why did he see the school doctor in the virtual space? That time, when she was in the Sea of Law, she saw the uncle in a trance. Excuse me, who were the people who just passed by? Ning Shu asked one of the mission enforcers. The mission enforcer said, "Oh, one of them is the manager of the virtual space." Someone in black? Ning Shu asked. The person who spoke is a manager. The mission enforcer looked at Ning Shu. You must be new. You don't even know this. I'm a newbie. What about the person in black? The person who spoke to the school doctor was the manager of the virtual space. Who was the school doctor? The mission enforcer looked embarrassed. I don't know. Ning Shu was speechless. To be able to talk to the manager of the virtual space, the uncle's identity should not be simple. 2333. Let's go back to the system space. Ning Shu said to 2333 in his heart. Ning Shu suddenly felt dizzy. When he opened his eyes, he was in the system space. Ning Shu said, I just met a familiar person. It's the man in the black windbreaker. Do you know him? I'm just a small system. What do I know? 2333 said unhappily. Ning Shu said, can't you use your smart search? Can't you find out who this person is? Forget it. There are too many powerful people up there. I can search just because I say I can. Maybe the system will catch me and I'll be reformatted. 2333 said. Ning Shu was speechless. Useless trash. Ning Shu did not bother about the school doctor uncle anymore. She could see that the school doctor uncle's identity was not simple. She and the school doctor uncle were not in the same class. The school doctor uncle did not know her. At most, he was just a familiar stranger. Ning Shu forgot about the school doctor uncle and opened the exchange shop. He exchanged for fasting pills, water and medicine. Because of the lesson in the last world, Ning Shu exchanged for fake death medicine and realgar powder. Ning Shu wanted to exchange for an amulet. However, this amulet cost 35 merit points. Ning Shu was worried that the amulet would only be effective in one world. Moreover, Ning Shu felt that 35 merit points was too high. Even the system could not calculate the merit points. It must be something good. System, if I exchange for this amulet, will it only be effective in one world? Ning Shu asked 2333. Oh, this amulet is effective forever. It will be effective in any world. It can save your life. 23333 said. Ning Shu was relieved. He clicked on the exchange button and let out a sigh of relief. If he encountered any danger that he could not resist, at least he had a guarantee. I say, do you really not know who the school doctor uncle is? Ning Shu asked again. 23333 said, I really don't know. Well, when he saw the school doctor uncle, his heart was beating fast. He wanted to know who this guy was. What use do you have? Ning Shu said unhappily. 23333 responded with silence. What about your man in the consultation room? Ning Shu asked. I don't know him. I don't have permission to search. 23333 said straightforwardly. What a piece of trash. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Well, it felt like the water here was very deep. Each one was stronger than the other. She was the only one who was weak. She had to work hard to improve her strength, not only for her safety, but also to stand firm in this turbulent Jianghu. Ning Shu took the watering can and watered the potted plant. Then he took it to the bookshelf to read. After finishing the book, Ning Shu slowly placed it back on the bookshelf. Then she ran on the treadmill for a while. The only regret was that she didn't have a body. She couldn't sweat at all, so she didn't have the pleasure of sweating profusely. After wandering around the system space for a while, touching here and there, he said to 23333, well, let's go and do the mission. Okay. 23,333's voice sounded. Ning Shu suddenly felt dizzy. After a while, when his soul and body merged, he opened his eyes. His body was very stiff. When he looked up, he found himself sleeping on the desk. Ning Shu stretched out her hand and placed it on her cervical spine. She moved her neck. which was so stiff that it made cracking sounds. Ning Shu's neck stiffened. She reached out and flipped her hand over to examine it. Then she touched her lower body. Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck, how did he become a man again? 23333, we need to talk about life. Ning Shu said to 23333. Your system is disconnected. Trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. Ning Shu rubbed his forehead. 23333, stop messing around. Your system is disconnected. Trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. It's not fun anymore. Ning Shu did not want to talk to this guy. 23333 said. There's nothing wrong with becoming a man. I'm used to squatting and peeing. What's so good about becoming a man? Ning Shu said. Besides, am I not a supporting female character? Why did she have to be both the female and the male lead? This time, she would not be a supporting male character, right? Chapter 502. Ning Shu had no choice but to accept the fact that he had become a man. How many times had it been? It was already the third time. Ning Shu felt that 2333 was a defective product. That was why the positioning was wrong. It was not easy to stay alive. With the addition of this system, it was simply one disaster after another. However, Ning Shu still accepted the system in his heart. When he was at his most helpless, 2333 risked being formatted to help him. Ning Shu was very grateful. But it could not hide the fact that 2333 was a piece of trash. Ning Shu looked at his surroundings. He was in a small office. Through the window, he could see employees coming and going in the big office outside. Ning Shu felt very tired. His throat was dry and he felt light. He was very sleepy. This body probably did not sleep for the whole night. Ning Shu poured a glass of water from the water dispenser. He drank a large glass of water to relieve the dry itch in his throat. He rubbed his forehead. His temples were throbbing with pain. Feeling that his current condition was very bad, Ning Shu reluctantly began to accept the storyline. The original owner was called Su Wenlang. He was a lawyer. Soon he would have a case. He had been busy with this case for several days, and had stayed up 2 nights. The main character of this story was not Su Wenlang, but Su Wenlang's childhood sweetheart Xia Xiaoman. Xia Xiaoman was a few years younger than Su Wenlang, and Xia Xiaoman was Su Wenlang's goal. Unsurprisingly, Xia Xiaoman and Su Wenlang were able to support each other for a lifetime. They knew each other very well. Their relationship was also good. Everything in the world was a what if. Su Wenlang and Xia Xiaoman's fates had a turning point. This person was Chu Xiaoran. This person was the CEO of a listed company. Chu Xiaoran met Xia Xiaoman one day. When he saw Xia Xiaoman again, he was holding nude photos of Xia Xiaoman. There were all kinds of nude photos of her changing clothes and bathing. Xia Xiaoman was not aware that she had been photographed. Some of the photos were even taken at Xia Xiaoman's home. Xia Xiaoman was shocked when she saw these photos. Looking at the handsome Chu Xiaoran, this person was simply a beast. Chu Xiaoran threatened Xia Xiaoman to become his woman and his mistress. Xia Xiaoman originally wanted to marry Su Wenlang, but now such a person popped out and made such an outrageous request. Of course, Xia Xiaoman wouldn't agree. Chu Xiaoran then threatened Xia Xiaoman that if she didn't agree, he would expose the photos. Then Xia Xiaoman agreed, and Chu Xiaoran began to keep her in his house. What Xia Xiaoman needed to do was to wait in the villa for Chu Xiaoran to come to the villa. Once Chu Xiaoran came, she would do something indescribable. Chu Xiaoran was the one who had resorted to trickery. When Su Wenlang found out about this, he was determined to rescue Xia Xiaoman. However, Xia Xiaoman had no choice but to endure the humiliation. In addition, Chu Xiaoran threatened Xia Xiaoman. Su Wenlang was just a small lawyer. It was too easy for Chu Xiaoran to kill Su Wenlang and drive him into a corner. Xia Xiaoman endured everything alone. She endured her unbearable identity, endured Chu Xiaoran's contempt for her, and also endured her inner struggle. In the end, Su Wenlang died because of Xia Xiaoman. Ning Shu was speechless. After reading the story, Ning Shu was deeply drunk. She was so drunk that she couldn't take it anymore. Xia Xiaoman could still fall in love with Chu Xiaoran and end up happily with him in the end. She didn't think of calling the police, even though someone took nude photos of her. Hence, Chu Shaoran got what he wanted and continued to violate her. What's the point of being a police officer? What made Ning Shu the most speechless was that Xia Xiaoman fell in love with Chu Shaoran. A man's love passed through his stomach, while a woman's love passed through her vagina. Xia Xiaoman fell in love with the man who threatened her and almost raped her. He was a man who didn't treat her well. Because of Xia Xiaoman's death, there was no one to take care of Su Wenlong's parents at home. The Su family and the Xia family completely fell out, and the Su family moved away. Xia Xiaoman and Chu Shaoran got married. Su Wenlong's death was just a catalyst for their relationship. Su Wenlang was just a cannon fodder. Su Wenlong's years of care and love couldn't compare to Chu Shaoran, who treated her badly. Don't talk about love. Xia Xiaoman was suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Chu Shaoran appeared in front of Xia Xiaoman with a despicable image. He didn't treat Xia Xiaoman well either, but he would occasionally show some warmth to Xia Xiaoman. If a person who had always been nice to you suddenly treated you badly one day, you wouldn't be able to take it, and would resent and get angry. If a person treated you badly, threatened you, and forced you to do things that you didn't want to do, but if that person treated you slightly better one day, you would immediately change your opinion of that person. Haha, what a sadistic relationship. Xia Xiaoman really suffered all kinds of grievances, and endured all kinds of grievances for the sake of her reputation, for the sake of not embarrassing her parents, and for the sake of her childhood sweetheart's future. Regarding this, Ning Shu could only use the word cheap to describe it. Xia Xiaoman could have used other methods to protect herself. Besides, Su Wenlang was a lawyer. Her actions would only give Chu Shaoran a chance to hurt her. Would it kill him to call the police? Oh, it was as if the CEO was omnipotent. This was a requirement of the plot. Why did Chu Shaoran and Xia Xiaoman have to be related to each other through such things? Chu Shaoran was also crazy. Why did he have to use such a method? Even if he wanted to steal her, he didn't have to use such a method. Did the CEO seem high and mighty just because he took advantage of her? Chu Shaoran's identity added a lot of points to him, and Xia Xiaoman only had to enjoy the benefits that this man brought her. On the other hand, Su Wenlong's family could only be considered wealthy. If he wanted to have a bright future, he had to work hard on his own. He couldn't be compared to Chu Shaoran, who had a silver spoon in his mouth since he was young. His halo couldn't be compared to Chu Shaoran. Su Wenlang had died once, and his parents were taking care of him at home. Now he just wanted to let Xia Xiaoman do whatever she wanted. What she wanted to do with Chu Shaoran was her own business. Ning Shu rubbed his swollen forehead. He felt very tired and wanted to rest. After taking his coat, Ning Shu took a taxi home to rest. The Su family lived in a house in the neighborhood, and they were neighbors with Xia Xiaoman. The two families had been friends for more than 20 years, and they even planned to become in-laws. When he returned home, Mother Su was watering the potted plants on the balcony. When she saw how tired Ning Shu was, she said, "Go take a shower and sleep first." Ning Shu took a nap. He didn't care about anything and just slept. Ning Shu was sleeping soundly when he was woken up by his phone's alarm. Ning Shu opened his eyes. Damn, his head hurts. She looked at the caller ID and saw that it was Xia Xiaoman. She picked up the phone. Before Xia Xiaoman could say anything, she started crying. The phone was filled with the sound of a woman sobbing. Ning Shu's sleepy head was about to explode. Oh damn. Chapter 503. Xia Xiaoman kept crying on the phone, and Ning Shu couldn't take it anymore. He asked, "What happened to Xiaoman?" "Brother Wenlang, Brother Wenlang." Xia Xiaoman kept crying and calling Ning Shu's name, but she didn't say anything. Finally, Xia Xiaoman calmed down a little and arranged to meet Ning Shu at a coffee shop. Her house was opposite, and they agreed to meet at a coffee shop. He wanted to say no, but Xia Xiaoman kept crying and called him again after hanging up. Ning Shu could only get up from the bed, put on his clothes and prepared to leave. Mother Su was cooking when she saw that Ning Shu was about to go out again. "You just rested for a while, why are you going out again?" Ning Shu took his suit jacket and changed his shoes at the entrance. He said, "I have something to deal with. Don't work too hard, take care of your body, and spend more time with Xiaoman." "Why haven't I seen Xiaoman recently?" Don't neglect her because of work. Xiaoman isn't a vain child, Mother Su said. Mother Su thought that her son was working so hard for Xiaoman, who lived opposite them. Ningxu grinned and didn't say anything. He went out. When he arrived at the coffee shop, Ningxu saw Xia Xiaoman sitting near the window. Xia Xiaoman was wearing long sleeves, and her long hair was draped over her shoulders. Ningxu walked over and pulled out a chair and sat opposite Xia Xiaoman. He looked at Xia Xiaoman, and her eyes were slightly red. Xia Xiaoman looked pure and innocent, and Xia Xiaoman was a well-protected and obedient girl. No wonder Chu Xiaoran liked her. She was different from the flirtatious sluts outside. But now, she looked like the female lead of a torturing novel. He didn't know how Chu Xiaoran could bear to do it. It seemed that every time they had sex, it was half-forced. Brother Wenlang. Xia Xiaoman looked at Ningxu, and her tears fell. Her eyes were red. Ningxu took a tissue from the table and handed it to Xia Xiaoman. He said, "Don't cry, wipe your tears." Xia Xiaoman took the tissue and wiped her tears. She looked like she had lost all hope. She looked at Ningxu with guilt and uneasiness. Her eyes were filled with confusion, pain, and a trace of hatred. Ningxu took a sip of coffee, and her mind finally cleared up a little. Seeing Xia Xiaoman's twisted face, she sighed in her heart and said, "What happened?" Xia Xiaoman looked at Ningxu, covered her mouth and cried. She sobbed, "Brother Wenlang, Brother Wenlang." Ningxu rubbed her swollen forehead. "Why are you crying?" Ningxu chanted the clear heart mantra in her heart. Xia Xiaoman felt that she had suffered a lot. It was so painful. "Xiaoman, I've stayed up 2 nights. I'm very tired. Don't cry. Tell me what happened." Ningxu took another sip of coffee. Xia Xiaoman immediately stopped crying. She said to Ningxu worriedly, "Brother Wenlang, you have to take care of your body. Don't work so hard." Ningxu nodded. She had already finished a cup of coffee and ordered another one. Ningxu just wanted to sleep now. Xia Xiaoman's face was pale, and she looked like she was struggling and in pain. "Brother Wenlang, let's break up." "Why?" Ningxu put down the coffee and looked at Xia Xiaoman. "We're going to get married soon. I'm not good enough for you now. Brother Wenlang, I'm sorry." Xia Xiaoman was disheartened. Ningxu saw mottled marks on Xia Xiaoman's collar. The hickeys were a little bruised, and he could see how hard Chu Xiaoran was. Fortunately, it wasn't so exaggerated that Xia Xiaoman couldn't get out of bed. Su Wenlang worked hard day and night for the future of the two of them. He worked hard so that Xia Xiaoman could live a comfortable life after marrying him, and live a happy life as Mrs. Su. He worked hard for his and Xia Xiaoman's future. However, Xia Xiaoman was already lying under another man. Even when such a thing happened, Xia Xiaoman didn't discuss it with Su Wenlang. She took on the tragic feeling of feeding the wolf with her body. She even felt that she had sacrificed herself for everyone. She was drunk. "What happened, Xiaoman? I still have a case to deal with. Are you serious about breaking up?" Ningxu raised his wrist and looked at it. Xia Xiaoman took a deep breath. "Brother Wenlang, don't ask me what happened. I don't want to talk about it. I hate myself. Brother Wenlang, you'll meet a good girl." Ningxu nodded. "If this is your wish, I promise you." Xia Xiaoman's face was full of tears. She looked at Ningxu with teary eyes. "Brother Wenlang, I hope you'll be happy." Ningxu nodded. It was ironic. Every time Xia Xiaoman was hurt, she would cry to Su Wenlang. Su Wenlang was so anxious that his heart was in a pot of oil. He would risk his life to save Xia Xiaoman from Chu Xiaoran. However, Xia Xiaoman would stop Su Wenlang, saying that Chu Xiaoran was too powerful and she couldn't win against him. He didn't know if it was because of this reason, or because Xia Xiaoman couldn't bear to leave Chu Xiaoran. Xia Xiaoman had Stockholm's disease. She developed feelings for the person who hurt her, and didn't want to face the problem. She avoided, forgot, and felt pain for the things that hurt her. In the end, they could still be happy together. It was just a tremor. Love was a beautiful and hazy thing. If this was love, Ningxu could only say that this kind of twisted love wasn't beautiful at all. It wasn't desirable at all. Su Wenlang respected Xia Xiaoman, and the most intimate thing he did was kiss her. He hadn't done anything out of line for so many years. The person whom he had protected for so many years was taken away by a wolf. Su Wenlang hated Chu Xiaoran very much, And he was also angry and disgusted with Xia Xiaoman. He was angry that Xia Xiaoman didn't love herself. No amount of excuses could cover up Xia Xiaoman's foolishness and frivolity. There were clearly many ways to solve the problem, but she chose the stupidest way. What made Su Wenlang even more disgusted was that Xia Xiaoman fell in love with Chu Xiaoran. Chu Xiaoran treated her like this and humiliated her. She fell in love with Chu Xiaoran, and even said that she had always treated him as her brother. When she was with Su Wenlang, her heart was very calm. She didn't feel the same as when she was with Chu Xiaoran. To hell with your heartbeat. You're addicted to being abused. Su Wenlang's wish was to take revenge on Chu Xiaoran. As for Xia Xiaoman, Su Wenlang didn't feel anything in his heart. He didn't want to redeem anything, nor did he want to see her happy. Hence, now that Xia Xiaoman proposed to break up with him, Ning Shu agreed without hesitation. He didn't want to snatch a woman from another man. The most important thing was that he didn't want to be a trash can. A trash can that would listen to Xia Xiaoman's cries whenever he was called. A trash can that hated Xia Xiaoman so much that he couldn't voice out his grievances. If there was a misunderstanding, he would rather die than say anything. Xia Xiaoman looked for Su Wenlang and cried. After crying, she returned to Chu Xiaoran's side and endured the humiliation in her heart to do what a mistress should do. Chapter 504. Ning Shu was not in a good mood to begin with. Now that she heard Xia Xiaoman sobbing and crying, she had been talking about breaking up for almost half an hour. Xia Xiaoman had been crying all this time. It was the kind of silent crying that made her feel suffocated. Brother Wenlang. Xia Xiaoman forced a smile on Ning Shu's face. I hope Brother Wenlang can find his own happiness. Please forget about me. Okay. Ning Shu replied. Xia Xiaoman's face stiffened. But when she thought of the overbearing and evil Chu Xiaoran, and his ability to do whatever he wanted, she had to make Brother Wenlang leave her for his future. Brother Wenlang, I'll leave first. Xia Xiaoman stood up and stared at Ning Shu. She smiled sadly. Brother Wenlang. Xia Xiaoman did not seem to know what to say and turned to leave. Her back was filled with sadness. Step by step, she seemed to have exhausted all her mental and physical strength to walk towards an unknown future. Ning Shu finished the coffee in his cup and planned to go back to sleep. He had not been in a good state of mind, so he must have a good sleep. Ning Shu had a general direction in his heart for the mission. He would not go head-to-head with Chu Xiaoran. He was now at a disadvantage and did not have the ability to fight with Chu Xiaoran, so everything had to be done slowly. If it was so easy, the client would not have offered her soul and wanted to turn the tide of life. Not only did she want to avenge Su Wenlang, she also wanted to live a brand new future for him. Ning Shu returned home and slept. After a good night's sleep, he first practiced a peerless martial arts. After all, the original owner was stabbed to death. It was best to have some martial arts to defend himself. In the modern era, it was basically useless to practice martial arts. It was good to be able to strengthen his body and make his body more agile. The sky was already dark. Ning Shu stopped practicing and went to the kitchen to find something to eat. There was some food in the pot that Mother Su had left for Ning Shu. After eating some dinner, he began to read the information of the original owner, Su Wenlang. Ning Shu had never been a lawyer. Fortunately, the original owner had done a lot of homework. He followed the order of defense and even made notes of possible situations. His mind was filled with legal provisions. Ning Shu had to flip through the legal book according to the legal provisions on the document. This case was relatively big. It was a copyright infringement lawsuit between two large companies. The law firm allowed Su Wenlang to represent them because of his outstanding ability. Su Wenlang had racked his brains for this case. Now that he was looking at such a thick document, Ning Shu was also nervous. He calmed himself down. In this world, he was a lawyer, and he was going to become a famous lawyer. Therefore, a mission enforcer had to be multi-talented. Most importantly, they had to have an intelligent brain. More and more, they felt that intelligence was too important. Intelligence and martial prowess. Both legs must be in the same place in order to walk steadily and quickly. Ning Shu recited these plans in his mouth. The original owner's mind was filled with ideas, so he only needed to sort them out. However, Ningshu's mind was empty, so he had to memorize these plans. He could only cram for them at the last minute. Fortunately, there were still a few days before the court session. This gave Ningshu enough time to prepare. Ningshu was still memorizing the provisions when his phone rang. He took the phone and looked at it. Ningshu raised his eyebrows. It was Xia Xiaoman again. It was already midnight. Why was she calling? Ningshu picked up the phone and said hello. Xia Xiaoman didn't say anything. She was sobbing. It seemed like she was covering her mouth and crying. Ningshu pinched the bridge of his nose. If he remembered correctly, didn't they break up during the day? Although they broke up, Xia Xiaoman still relied on the original owner. After all, they had been together for so many years. There was no way to get rid of it all at once. She subconsciously called Ningshu and thought of the original owner when she was wronged and hurt. She would cry to her whenever she was in trouble. However, when it came to such a big matter, she acted on her own and didn't discuss it with Su Wenlang. What did she think Su Wenlang was? When Su Wenlang found out, Xia Xiaoman had already given herself to Chu Xiaoran. Xia Xiaoman was also extremely daring. She had concealed such a big matter. Xia Xiaoman actually didn't tell Su Wenlang about their relationship for so many years. Moreover, they were going to get married. Just based on this point, Ningshu didn't have a good impression of Xia Xiaoman. Xia Xiaoman still felt that she had sacrificed a lot and made a lot of sacrifices. She was simply compromising. What's the matter? Ningshu asked indifferently. Xia Xiaoman still didn't say anything. She was probably covering her mouth, and only the sound of her heavy breathing could be heard. Ningshu felt that it was strange. Why is Xia Xiaoman calling me? She's not talking. It's not cheap. Ningshu was about to hang up the phone when he heard a low and magnetic voice. Xia Xiaoman, what are you doing hiding inside? Then Xia Xiaoman hung up the phone. She seemed to be very scared. That voice should be Chu Xiaoran. It could only be said that between Chu Xiaoran and Xia Xiaoman, one was willing to take the hit, and the other was willing to take the hit. Ningshu didn't care about Xia Xiaoman's matter anymore. He was busy with his lawsuit. After finishing this lawsuit, Ningshu had new arrangements. A few days were enough for Ningshu to memorize these things. When the court started, Ningshu put on his lawyer's uniform and walked into the court under the encouragement of the law firm's boss. The atmosphere in the court was serious and tense. Ningshu's heart suddenly became nervous. He silently chanted the heart-calming mantra in his heart to suppress the nervousness in his heart. Ningshu and the other party's defense lawyer went back and forth. Ningshu had never been a lawyer before. For a moment, he was suppressed by the other party and became more and more anxious. Taking a deep breath, Ningshu strictly followed the original owner's plan and strictly guarded. Ningshu felt that his back was covered in cold sweat. It was more nerve-wracking and tiring than on the battlefield. From the corner of his eye, Ningshu saw an extremely handsome man sitting in the gallery. He had a strong temperament, and his eyes were contemptuous and arrogant. This was a domineering and cruel man. At the sight of this man, 3 words immediately popped up in Ningshu's mind. Chu Xiaoran. What is Chu Xiaoran doing here? Upon meeting Ningshu's gaze, Chu Xiaoran raised his chin slightly and gave Ningshu a spurious smile. However, his contempt for her was evident in his words. Ningshu stopped looking at Chu Xiaoran and focused on his lawsuit. In the end, Ningshu won by a small margin, because his company was the one that had been violated. If the original owner was here, she would definitely do better than her, and not be suppressed by the other party. She clearly had the advantage, but it took her so much effort to win. It was necessary for her to further her studies, not only for Su Wenlang, but also for herself. If she did that, Su Wenlang's reputation as a top lawyer would be ruined in her hands. After the judge announced the result, Ningshu wiped the sweat off his forehead, put away the documents, and left the court. As soon as he left the court, Ningshu saw Chu Xiaoran standing there, seemingly waiting for him. Ningshu pretended not to see him and walked straight away. The big CEO was busy every day. If he could spend so much time watching him fight a lawsuit, it would most likely be something bad. He didn't come with good intentions. Chapter 505. Lawyer Su. Chu Xiaoran stopped Ning Shu, who was walking past him without looking sideways. Ning Shu stopped and turned to look at Chu Xiaoran. President Chu, what can I do for you? Chu Xiaoran walked in front of Ning Shu. He was a little taller than Su Wenlang. Ning Shu felt that he was sizing her up and scrutinizing her with hostility. Chu Xiaoran narrowed his eyes. This man must be the brother Wenlang that Xia Xiaoman mentioned. When she was lying under him, Xia Xiaoman deliberately made him angry and called him brother Wenlang. Chu Xiaoran sized up this man. He had a scholarly aura and gave people a comfortable feeling. He was pure and gentle like jade, and he was good-looking. Chu Xiaoran narrowed his eyes, and there was a hint of viciousness between his eyebrows. President Chu, what can I do for you? Ning Shu asked when he saw Chu Xiaoran looking at him condescendingly. Lawyer Su, do you know me? Chu Xiaoran asked leisurely. Ning Shu said indifferently. President Chu is famous in T-City, but you actually know a nobody like me. A nobody? In my heart, you're not a nobody. Chu Xiaoran took out a business card and handed it to Ning Shu. You're quite capable. It's a waste of your talent to stay in that small law firm. Come to my company and be my lawyer. The salary will be better than in a law firm. Ning Shu was a little surprised. What did Chu Xiaoran mean? Ning Shu didn't think that Chu Xiaoran wanted to promote him, and it was impossible for him to promote him. Ning Shu took the business card and was very polite and distant. President Chu, you think too highly of me. Chu Xiaoran smiled evilly, and the corners of his mouth curled up. He reached out and patted Ning Shu's shoulder. He used so much force that Ning Shu's shoulder was almost crooked. Ning Shu's expression didn't change, and he looked at Chu Xiaoran indifferently. Chu Xiaoran and Ning Shu looked at each other, opened the car door, and said to Ning Shu, Lawyer Su, we'll meet again. After Chu Xiaoran finished speaking, he got into the car and drove away. Ning Shu lowered his head and looked at the elegant business card in his hand. He smiled faintly and tore the business card. Judging from Chu Xiaoran's reaction, he was afraid that Chu Xiaoran was dissatisfied with his identity and his relationship with Xia Xiaoman. Ning Shu would wring his brain out of his head if he said that he was appreciating him. This high and mighty attitude was a demonstration. Ning Shu knew that he didn't have the ability to retaliate against Chu Xiaoran now, but there would always be a way. Chu Xiaoran was powerful, but there would always be someone stronger than him. Back at home, Ning Shu was about to go to bed when his father, who was reading the newspaper in the living room, called out to Ning Shu. Mr. Su and Mrs. Su were both retired now, and their monthly retirement salary was very high. Moreover, Mr. Su was a director in the company. The Su family's living standards were not as high as those at the top, but they were better than those at the bottom. It was a simple and warm family. Even if Xia Xiaoman married him, she would have a good life. It was supposed to be a happy life, but it was ruined by Chu Xiaoran, and the two elders of the Su family had to send their son off. Their only son was killed because of Xia Xiaoman. The Su family and the Xia family had completely fallen out with each other. Ning Shu endured his fatigue and sat opposite Mr. Su. He asked, Dad, what's the matter? Mr. Su took off his reading glasses and said to Ning Shu, When are you and Xiaoman getting married? You're not young anymore. You should settle down with the girl across the street as soon as possible. The two families know each other very well. While your mother and I are still young, we can help you. Ning Shu pursed his lips. Let's talk about this later. I don't plan to get married for the time being. Mr. Su furrowed his brows and looked suspicious. Did something happen? Did something happen to the girl next door? Dad, it's nothing. I'm just a little tired. I'm going to rest first. Ning Shu pinched his eyebrows, feeling mentally and physically exhausted. I just fought a lawsuit. I'm a little tired. Then go and rest. Mr. Su hurriedly said. Take a shower and have a good sleep. Ning Shu picked up his clothes and went back to his room. After washing up, he sat cross-legged on the bed and began to cultivate the ultimate martial arts. Just as he entered the state, he was interrupted by his phone ringing. Ning Shu was a little annoyed. There was an irrepressible anger in his heart. He silently recited the clear heart mantra to calm himself down. He picked up his phone and saw that it was Xia Xiaoman again. Ning Shu hung up without hesitation and turned off his phone. It was so annoying. She called him every 2 to 3 days. Did it look like they had broken up? It was annoying to hear her sobbing. With his cultivation interrupted, Ning Shu went straight to sleep. It was not easy to cultivate in the modern world. There was a lack of spiritual energy, and it was basically impossible to cultivate internal force. There was also the suppression of the laws of heaven and earth. Ning Shu had just fallen asleep when someone knocked on the door again. In a daze, Ning Shu heard Xia Xiaoman's voice outside. Brother Wenlang. Ning Shu felt like he was dreaming, but the knocking lasted for a long time. Ning Shu had no choice but to get out of bed. He had never been so desperate to sleep in a world. Why was it so annoying? Ning Shu opened the door and saw an anxious Xia Xiaoman. She was so anxious that her forehead was sweating. It looked like something serious had happened. Brother Wenlang, I have something to tell you. Let's talk outside. Xia Xiaoman reflexively wanted to pull Ning Shu's hand and go outside. But when she remembered that they had broken up, she retracted her hand. Brother Wenlang, I have something important to tell you. Xia Xiaoman looked anxious. She was afraid that Ning Shu would not go out with her. She looked at Ning Shu with pleading eyes. Ning Shu could only go out with Xia Xiaoman. When they reached the park in the neighborhood, Xia Xiaoman said anxiously to Ning Shu, Brother Wenlang, did you meet Chu Xiaoran? Don't believe him. He is a devil who eats people whole. Don't be fooled by him. It turned out that Xia Xiaoman had such an image of Chu Xiaoran in her heart at the beginning. But in the end, she fell in love with this devil. Xia Xiaoman saw that Ning Shu was silent and said anxiously, Brother Wenlang, trust me. Don't have any contact with Chu Xiaoran. You know Chu Xiaoran? Ning Shu looked at her. At this time, Xia Xiaoman still had not told him the truth. Now she was saying that it was for his good. Ning Shu simply did not know what to say. Xia Xiaoman's expression froze, and she looked a little embarrassed. Ning Shu said, Brother Wenlang, trust me. I won't harm you. Xia Xiaoman was a little embarrassed. Was she going to tell Brother Wenlang that she was dirty and embarrassed now? Was she going to tell him that she was someone's mistress? She was a mistress who was always at someone's beck and call? Xia Xiaoman was now thinking about when Chu Xiaoran got tired of her and let her leave and return the nude photos to her. Brother Wenlang, I have no choice but to do this. But you must believe Chu Xiaoran. He is a sinister and cunning devil. Xia Xiaoman looked at Ning Shu and said, You are the person I care about the most in my life. Brother Wenlang, I don't want you to get hurt. Chapter 506. Ning Shu listened to Xia Xiaoman's painstaking advice, as if she was very concerned about him. Ning Shu's heart was indifferent and unmoved. Things had developed to this point entirely because of Xia Xiaoman's own initiative. If she had been willing to discuss it with others, it wouldn't have been so tiring. Until now, Xia Xiaoman still didn't intend to say anything. She kept saying that she didn't want to hurt Su Wenlang. But what Xia Xiaoman did hurt Su Wenlang the most. Xia Xiaoman's I have my own difficulties look made Ning Shu unable to feel Xia Xiaoman's concern for Su Wenlang. I'll remember what you said. Ning Shu looked at Xia Xiaoman. You're on your own. Xia Xiaoman heard Ning Shu's words and instantly thought that he knew. Her face was pale and she stuttered. Brother Wenlang, do you know something? What do you think I should know? Ning Shu asked Xia Xiaoman. We've been together for more than 10 years, from when we were young until we grew up. What kind of existence am I in your heart? We're family, Xia Xiaoman said without hesitation. I can do anything to protect you, Brother Wenlang. Family, this is similar to how I've always treated you as my brother. In other words, Xia Xiaoman subconsciously kicked Su Wenlang out of the circle of love. There could be friendship and family but not love. Ning Shu grinned. I'll tell my parents that we broke up. Brother Wenlang. Xia Xiaoman's lips trembled. As long as you're happy. As long as the people she cared about were happy. Xia Xiaoman felt that everything she endured was worth it. The two of them were speechless. Xia Xiaoman walked in front and entered the Xia family's house. Ning Shu entered the Su family's house opposite. Xia Xiaoman turned to look at Ning Shu's back and felt that he was a stranger. She pursed her lips. As long as he was happy, it was fine. Xia Xiaoman felt very guilty towards Su Wenlang. She had let Su Wenlang down. 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 The image of Chu Shaoran appeared in Xia Xiaoman's mind. He had an aura that could destroy the heavens and the earth. He had destroyed her everything and caused her to fall into hell. Xia Xiaoman hated Chu Shaoran in her heart. Why did it have to be her? Why did Chu Shaoran choose her? Why did this king-like man choose an ordinary person like her? Ning Shu walked into the house and said to the Su couple, "Dad, Mom, I've broken up with Xia Xiaoman. I won't get married." The Su couple was stunned and didn't react for a long time. It was Mrs. Su who asked first, "What happened? Why did you break up?" "I just feel that we're not suitable for each other, so I can only break up," Ning Shu said indifferently. This time, he might as well completely break up with Xia Xiaoman. It was very annoying to always be entangled with her. Moreover, Chu Shaoran would also deal with him. He didn't have the ability to deal with Chu Shaoran now. Isn't this nonsense? It's so childish. You two live opposite each other and see each other frequently. Isn't this too awkward? Everyone in the neighborhood knows that you two are getting married. Now that you're saying that you're not getting married, what face does the Su family have left? You've lost your friendship with your neighbor for more than 20 years. Mr. Su frowned. You grew up with the girl next door. You know her very well. Why did you break up with her? Ning Shu's lips moved. Just as he was about to say something, the doorbell rang, and Mrs. Su went to open the door. Xia Xiaoman's mother was the one who knocked on the door. She dragged the pale-faced Xia Xiaoman into the living room and questioned Ning Shu angrily. "Wenlang, what did you do? Why did you break up with Xiaoman?" Xia Xiaoman felt extremely guilty. Her face turned pale, and she felt very embarrassed. She glanced at the indifferent Ning Shu and dragged her mother outside. "Mom, I was the one who initiated the breakup. It has nothing to do with Brother Wenlang. Mom, I beg you. Let's go back. I'll tell you everything when we get back." Xia Xiaoman had only told her mother that she had broken up with Brother Wenlang, and the straightforward mother Xia had dragged her here. This made Xia Xiaoman feel very embarrassed. Even if her difficulties were to protect the people she cared about, if she really had to say it out loud, she would be embarrassed and ashamed. She detested Chu Shaoran even more. He had messed up her life. She was no longer the pure Xia Xiaoman, and no longer had the right to be Brother Wenlang's bride. If you have something to say, then say it clearly. Mr. Su looked at Xia Xiaoman. This isn't just between the two of you. It's a matter between the two of you and your family. It also concerns your family's reputation. Why did you have to break up? Xia Xiaoman couldn't say anything. Tears rolled down her cheeks, and she was extremely distressed. Mrs. Su frowned. Mrs. Su couldn't bear to see Xia Xiaoman cry so easily. Xia Xiaoman wasn't like this in the past. Ning Shu could only say that Xia Xiaoman was now in the mode of torturing the female lead of a novel. She was torturing the relationship, and the male lead was torturing her. In any case, Xia Xiaoman seemed to be constantly hypnotized. "I'm suffering so much. I'm in so much pain," Ning Shu said. "We did break up. We broke up a long time ago." "Why? Su Wenlang, you can't change your mind. Our Xiaoman has been with you for so many years. Don't you think it's too much to fall out with her just like that?" Xia Xiaoman's mother said, displeased with Ning Shu. "Our Xiaoman doesn't necessarily have to marry you. But there has to be a reason for breaking up. Abandoning our Xiaoman like this, I won't agree to this. Old Su, we've known each other for so many years, you can't do such a thing." Xiaoman's mother's words were like firecrackers, a string of crackling sounds. Xia Xiaoman's face turned red and tears rolled down her cheeks. Ning Shu saw this scene. From this moment onwards, the Su family and the Xia family were no longer on friendly terms. It was impossible for them to be as close as they used to be. "I wasn't the one who broke up. As for the reason, I don't know either," Ning Shu said calmly. "I want to ask why Xiaoman broke up with me." Xia Xiaoman's mother frowned and retorted. "Xiaoman is a timid child. She wouldn't break up with you first." Xia Xiaoman wasn't a very opinionated person. It could be seen from the photo that Chu Shaoran used to threaten her. As for Xia Xiaoman's mother saying that she was timid, Ning Shu snorted. Xia Xiaoman was bold enough to make such a decision behind the backs of the two families. She was stupid and thought that she had sacrificed a lot. She didn't think about the situation that the two families were facing. Su Wenlang even died because of her. Xiaoman, what happened? Did you break up with him? Xia Xiaoman's mother was stunned. Xia Xiaoman bit her lips tightly and nodded with a mournful expression. Chapter 507. Xia Xiaoman's mother originally thought that the two children broke up because of Su Wenlang. After all, men were more likely to get bored than women. She thought that Su Wenlang wanted to dump her daughter. But when she heard that it was Xia Xiaoman who broke up, she was dumbfounded. Why did you break up? Xia Xiaoman's mother was instantly annoyed. She felt that she had embarrassed herself in front of the Su family. Why didn't you discuss such a big matter with me? Mom. Xia Xiaoman felt exhausted. Let's go back. I'll explain it to you. Mom, I beg you. Let's go back first. Xia Xiaoman pulled her mother with all her might and walked out of the door. Why? Xiaoman, why did you break up? We should know the reason. And your brother Wenlang should know the inside story. You can ask Wolf if he doesn't know anything. If you want to break up, your brother Wenlang will break up with you. You can't humiliate your brother Wenlang like this, Mother Su said with a straight face. Xia Xiaoman bit her lip and looked at Ning Shu with pleading eyes. Her whole body was trembling in fear. She was like a prisoner before her execution. Even if she really became a mistress, now that she had to remove the cover, Xia Xiaoman was so ashamed that she wanted to jump off the building. Xiaoman, tell us. Xia Xiaoman's mother was angry at her daughter. Seeing that the Su family didn't look good, she became even fiercer. You wretched girl, tell us. Xia Xiaoman burst into tears. I became someone's mistress. I'm not good enough for brother Wenlang. I was the one who degraded myself and became someone else's mistress. Xia Xiaoman turned and ran after saying that. Everyone in the house was shocked. Xia Xiaoman's mother was shocked. She looked at the few people in the house and quickly chased after Xia Xiaoman. Mother Su looked at Ning Shu and asked, What did you hear Xia Xiaoman say just now? Ning Shu's expression was calm. I heard it. Father Su frowned. What's going on? How could such a well-behaved girl do such a thing? How could she become someone's mistress? Mother Su looked at Ning Shu. Wenlang, what do you think we should do? Are you and Xia Xiaoman still getting married? Ning Shu shook his head and said to his parents, Let's move. After we move, I want to study abroad. Mr. and Mrs. Su looked at each other. Move. All right. Mr. Su said in the end. Ning Shu said, I have some money to buy a new house. Let's sell this house. Ning Shu had some savings in his hands. This was originally Su Wenlang's wedding fund, and he had been saving it all along. Mr. Su's parents were afraid that their son would be sad, so it was better for him to leave this sad place. Mr. Su said, Keep your money. Go abroad if you want. Mother Su sighed. How did things turn out like this? Ning Shu asked. Who is she working for? I don't know. Ning Shu said indifferently. There's no need to talk about this in the future. Xia Xiaoman, and I will not get married. We don't want such a girl who doesn't love herself, Mr. Su said coldly. What can't she solve? Why does she have to be someone's mistress? Ning Shu returned to his room, took a shower and slept. When he woke up, he began to memorize the law. She had to go abroad. Firstly, it was to study and seek better development. How could she fight with Chu Xiaoran if she was not capable? T-City was Chu Xiaoran's territory, and he could do whatever he wanted here. Secondly, she did not want to get involved in Chu Xiaoran and Xia Xiaoman's affairs. Ning Shu planned to study for at most 2 years. Su Wenlang clearly had a bright future, but he fell into the whirlpool of love and lost his life in the end. After this incident, the Su and Xia families got along very awkwardly. Even if they met each other when they went out, they would not speak. The two families used to be very close. They would inform each other about any activities. Sometimes, they would go to each other's house for dinner. Sometimes, they would go to each other's house for dinner. But now they did not even speak. In the end, Xia Xiaoman's mother pulled Mrs. Su back. Her face was red with shame as she said, Wenlang's mother, can you not tell anyone about Xiaoman? She had no choice. Mrs. Su said, We won't talk about this kind of thing. It's just that your Xiaoman didn't seem like a child who would do such a thing. Xia Xiaoman's mother's face twitched. With a helpless and sorrowful expression, she said, "She also has her own difficulties. That man has hers. That bastard didn't threaten Xiaoman on her own accord. Xiaoman is also silently enduring this for the sake of our family's reputation. I know that Xiaoman is no longer worthy of your family's Wenlang, but don't tell anyone about this." Mrs. Su frowned. Why didn't she tell us about such a big matter? She decided on her own. That man committed a crime, and she agreed? Mrs. Su's face twitched. In the end, she said, "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone." Mrs. Su just wanted to move out as soon as possible and leave this troublesome place. Mrs. Su went back and told Mr. Su about this. Mr. Su said bluntly, "That man is rich and good-looking. If he was an old man, Xia Xiaoman probably wouldn't have agreed to it. How could she have compromised so easily?" Mrs. Su was speechless. Ning Shu heard Mr. Su's words as soon as he came out of the room. Perhaps Xia Xiaoman subconsciously agreed to it, but she still had to pretend that she was coerced to hide some of her thoughts. Seeing Ning Shu come out, Mr. Su changed the topic. Ning Shu said, "There's already a buyer for this house. When do you plan to go abroad?" "I'll go abroad after the new house is bought, and you've settled down." Ning Shu had to settle down the two elders of the Su family before he could go abroad with peace of mind. Ning Shu couldn't guarantee that Chu Sharan wouldn't do anything to the two elders of the Su family. Chu Sharan stole someone else's girlfriend and even tried to kill him. He was probably the most arrogant male lead Ning Shu had ever seen. He was so confident because he thought that Su Wenlang was weak. "Okay then." Mr. Su nodded. "You can go out and relax." Ning Shu went to the law firm to resign. The boss of the law firm treated Su Wenlang quite well. The reason why Su Wenlang could fight his way to become a top lawyer was partly because of his own ability, and partly because the boss treated him well. Before Ning Shu could say anything, the boss looked at him with a complicated expression and asked, "Wenlang, did you offend someone recently?" Ning Shu narrowed his eyes. "No, President Gu. Did something happen?" "Oh, why are you looking for me?" Ning Shu asked. Ning Shu said, "I'm here to resign. I plan to study abroad for a while." "Okay, I agree. But even if you don't resign, I might have to fire you. Someone is pressuring me." "Sai, it's good to go abroad," Ning Shu said. Chapter 508. When Ning Shu heard the boss of the law firm, he instantly knew that Chu Shaoran was the one who did it. He was using his power to oppress others. He wondered if Xia Xiaoman had done something that made Chu Shaoran angry, causing him to act against her so quickly. As long as Xia Xiaoman did something that made Chu Shaoran angry, Chu Shaoran would do something to make Xia Xiaoman suffer and force her to compromise. Su Wenlang was also one of Chu Shaoran's weak spots to threaten Xia Xiaoman, especially since Xia Xiaoman and Su Wenlang had a past. Chu Shaoran treated Xia Xiaoman like a pet. This pet had to be loyal to him and was not allowed to have any selfish motives. He would only use Xia Xiaoman's weakness to force her to compromise and suppress Xia Xiaoman's thoughts. "Wenlang, go and write your resignation letter. This will be considered as your resignation. Being fired is not good for your reputation, especially for those in this industry. I've let you down. Those who are in this industry will always make some compromises," the boss said helplessly. Ning Shu said with a smile, "Thank you, I'll go and write my resignation letter now." Ning Shu also knew the boss's helplessness. This law firm was not very big, and people like Chu Shaoran could make this law firm disappear with a flip of his hand. Xia Xiaoman was miserable, but Su Wenlang was even more miserable. Not only did his fiancée get snatched away, but he also became the cannon fodder of their love. From time to time, Xia Xiaoman would drag Su Wenlang out for a walk. In order to anger Chu Shaoran, Xia Xiaoman would say that the person in her heart was Brother Wenlang. Even if he had her body, he would not be able to get her heart. She would not give in to him. When Chu Shaoran was angry, he would also say that she still had Su Wenlang in her heart. No matter how Xia Xiaoman explained, he felt that a woman's heart was only filled with her ex-boyfriend. If he could not get her heart, he would abuse her body. He could start to communicate with her body anywhere. Ning Shu wrote his resignation letter, and the boss approved it. He even gave Ning Shu a red packet. Finally, he patted Ning Shu's shoulder and said, "Be careful." Ning Shu nodded and left the law firm. Ning Shu sneered in his heart. He would remember this. It was simply annoying to meet people like Chu Xiaoran and Xia Xiaoman. Perhaps the two of them had feelings for each other. But both of them used extreme methods to test each other, and even implicated innocent people. With Chu Xiaoran's tyranny and his ability to summon wind and rain, it was impossible for him to make Su Wenlang feel comfortable. Ning Shu went to apply for a visa, and prepared to go to England. This was a country that was known for its strictness. He wanted to further his studies there. The only thing left was to choose a university. Moreover, not every university wanted Ning Shu. "Wenlang, can I come in?" Nanny Su's voice sounded outside the door. Ning Shu said, "Come in." Nanny Su brought a glass of milk to Ning Shu. She sat beside Ning Shu and said, "Wenlang, ever since you broke up with Xia Xiaoman, you've been calmly planning to go abroad. I don't see you being sad. Don't keep it to yourself." How could he give up on a relationship that had lasted more than 10 years so easily? That was why Su Wenlang insisted on getting Xia Xiaoman out. However, he did not know that Xia Xiaoman had fallen in love with Chu Xiaoran. "I know that there's no future with Xia Xiaoman. I'm not that sad. I just feel that it's a pity that she's not by my side after so many years of being alone." Ning Shu said calmly, "Xia Xiaoman actually doesn't have me in her heart. She agreed to marry me out of habit. She was just used to being alone. That was why Xia Xiaoman later said that she did not feel her heart beating when she was with Su Wenlang." Nanny Su could only sigh. "Go abroad and relax. Don't keep it to yourself." Ning Shu nodded. In the luxurious villa, Chu Xiaoran held a document in his hand and looked at Xia Xiaoman with a devilish gaze. "Here, take a look." Xia Xiaoman looked at the document suspiciously and took a look. It was a resignation letter. When she saw the signature, Xia Xiaoman's face turned pale. Xia Xiaoman's eyes reddened. Why would Brother Wenlang resign? Xia Xiaoman remembered that Brother Wenlang said that he loved being a lawyer and worked hard for it. However, he had resigned now. "You did it, didn't you?" Xia Xiaoman asked Chu Xiaoran hatefully. "Brother Wenlang is innocent. Why did you do this to him?" "Because my little pet kept thinking about him and made me unhappy." Chu Xiaoran's expression was cold and cruel. "I just gave him a name card and said that I wanted to promote him. He immediately resigned. I even wanted to kick him out of that law firm. I didn't expect him to resign first." Chu Xiaoran looked at Xia Xiaoman viciously and snapped his fingers. He then nonchalantly said, "Next, shall we make a bet? Let's see if Su Wenlang will call me and ask me to fulfill my promise and let him work in my company. Is the man in your heart nothing more than this?" I lost a bone, and he came running over wagging his tail. "I'm afraid he still doesn't know that you're my mistress. You're shameless. Why did you do this? What exactly are you after? Are you happy to see others suffer?" Xia Xiaoman yelled and fell to the ground with a look of confusion. She really couldn't understand how Chu Xiaoran could be so cruel. Chu Xiaoran looked at Xia Xiaoman. "You're my pet now. Don't think too much and make me unhappy. Don't forget your current identity. You're my mistress. I didn't want to be your mistress. I was forced by you." Xia Xiaoman's body trembled. Every time Chu Xiaoran called her mistress, Xia Xiaoman felt that her self-esteem was being dismembered and trampled into the mud. Xia Xiaoman bit her cheeks and said fiercely, "I've been your mistress for almost 2 months. You should let me go. Give it to me." Chu Xiaoran smiled faintly, as if he had heard something funny. He touched his chin and said, "I can give it to you." Xia Xiaoman was in disbelief. He gave it to her so easily. This was something she had been looking forward to. But now that it was in her hands, she suddenly felt a little lost. For a moment, she didn't know what was wrong with her. "Are you really willing to give it to me?" Xia Xiaoman asked. Chu Xiaoran nodded. "Of course, because I don't need it anymore. I have something new." Chu Xiaoran leaned forward slightly and got closer to Xia Xiaoman. "When you begged me to enter you on the bed, I took a picture of it. It's even better than a nude photo." Xia Xiaoman was dumbfounded. She felt like she was struck by lightning. she asked while trembling. What did you say? Chu Xiaoran seemed to admire Xia Xiaoman's reaction. Do you want a nude photo? I'll give it to you. Chu Xiaoran, you bastard. Why don't you die? Why? Why did you do this to me? I hate you. Xia Xiaoman yelled at Chu Xiaoran. Chapter 509. Xia Xiaoman stared at the demon-like Chu Xiaoran with a look of despair and panic. Why are you doing this to me? Why? What do you want from me? Chu Xiaoran, just kill me. Why would I kill you? I've said it before. You're my little pet now. I'll naturally let you go when I'm tired of you. I'm still addicted to your taste now, Chu Xiaoran said casually. Chu Xiaoran rubbed his forehead. You just have to be obedient. Don't make trouble for me when I'm tired of you. Be obedient and do what a pet should do. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to cut off your claws. Xia Xiaoman stood in a daze and did not move. In the end, she slapped Chu Xiaoran twice as if she had gone mad. She slapped Chu Xiaoran twice with all her might and screamed at the top of her lungs. Chu Xiaoran, you're not human, you're not human. Chu Xiaoran's face was slapped to the side. He smiled evilly and touched his face. He turned to look at Xia Xiaoman and raised his eyebrows. Did I not satisfy you? Why are you so resentful? You're shameless, you're shameless. Xia Xiaoman was so angry that she cried. Chu Xiaoran, you'll go to hell. I curse you to go to hell. Is that so? I'll go to hell, but I'll die because of you. Chu Xiaoran lifted Xia Xiaoman up. Xia Xiaoman was so angry that she hit him with her fists. Chu Xiaoran, you bastard. Let go of me. I hate you. I hate you to death. You'll love me to death later. Chu Xiaoran smiled evilly and patted Xia Xiaoman's butt. Look, there's always a camera nearby. It's not bad to admire it afterward. Chu Xiaoran pressed on Xia Xiaoman's body. Xia Xiaoman was in so much pain that she felt as if she was going to die. Why did he have to torture her like this? He took her body and trampled on her dignity. For some reason, Chu Xiaoran felt very good today, especially when Xia Xiaoman struggled violently. Her face was flushed red, making her look very sexy and charming. Since you like violence, fine, I'll play with you. Chu Xiaoran looked at Xia Xiaoman, who was beneath him, and tapped the tip of her nose. Little wild cat. You're really wild. Xia Xiaoman was a little flustered when Chu Xiaoran tapped the tip of her nose, and coupled with his devilishly handsome face. She immediately thought that this man was a demon, and struggled violently. Chu Xiaoran, let go of me. I'm not feeling well today. Please. Chu Xiaoran smiled evilly. When have you ever felt comfortable? You always say that you're not feeling well. Chu Xiaoran, I'm begging you. I'm really not feeling well, really. Xia Xiaoman's face was pale. I'm begging you. Beg me now. Ning Shu was studying his law books at home. He had already gotten his visa, and all he had to do was wait for the new house to be bought before leaving. Ning Shu's intention was to leave T-City. Leaving T-City would be better for the two elders of the Su family. Ning Shu didn't dare to risk the safety of the two elders. With Chu Xiaoran's character, he was a rich and willful person who could do anything. However, the two elders were a little hesitant. They couldn't bear to leave the place where they had lived for so many years. Besides, they were already old, and it would be difficult for them to adapt to a new environment in a new place. Hence, they were still in a dilemma. Ning Shu flipped through the book, his lips moving as he recited the law. Mother Su walked in and Ning Shu said, "Something happened to the girl next door." Ning Shu closed the book. "What happened?" Mother Su frowned and said, "She's already in the hospital. Xiaoman's mother is now rushing to the hospital to take care of her." What happened to the hospital? Ning Shu was a little surprised. Did Chu Xiaoran do something to Xia Xiaoman? Ning Shu thought for a while. "Mom, come with me to see her." "All right. Although we don't interact with each other now, we've been friends for so many years." Mother Su nodded, and was still boiling soup for Xia Xiaoman in the kitchen. When they arrived at the hospital, Ning Shu pushed open the door, and saw Xia Xiaoman lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling with a dull expression, and tears in the corners of her eyes. Her face was as pale as a sheet, and even her lips were colorless. She seemed to be seriously ill. "Girl, what happened? Where's your mother?" Mother Su put down the thermos and asked Xia Xiaoman, who was in a daze. Xia Xiaoman turned her head and saw Ning Shu. Her eyes were red and her lips moved. She said hoarsely, "Brother Wenlang. Rest well, don't think too much." Ning Shu glanced at Xia Xiaoman. She seemed to be suffering from a great loss of vitality and excessive blood loss. She looked like a miscarriage. Ning Shu looked at Xia Xiaoman's stomach. "Rest well, Brother Wenlang, I'm in so much pain," Xia Xiaoman said with tears streaming down her face. "Brother Wenlang, what should I do?" Ning Shu said calmly. "It's okay, there's nothing you can't get over." Ning Shu did not want to see Xia Xiaoman's face contorted in pain. He went to ask the doctor, who said that she had a miscarriage because of intense sexual intercourse. Ning Shu was speechless. Did she have a miscarriage and lose the child? Didn't Xia Xiaoman know that she was pregnant? Ning Shu returned to the ward and looked at Xia Xiaoman. "Rest well, don't think too much." Xia Xiaoman turned to look at the man beside her. He was still as gentle as ever, but they had already missed each other. Xia Xiaoman looked at the ceiling. What happened last night was a nightmare. She was in so much pain, but Chu Shaoran refused to stop. She was pinned under his body, and her stomach was in so much pain that it felt like a knife was cutting it. Her child was gone, and she did not even know about the existence of this child. Ning Shu looked at Xia Xiaoman, who was in so much pain and despair. His heart did not waver at all. Even if she hated him to death, they still ended up together happily. Xia Xiaoman was a bitch. She was hurt so badly, but she was still able to forgive him. Ning Shu did not pity Xia Xiaoman at all, no matter how much misfortune she had encountered. Perhaps it was because Chu Shaoran had given her too much misfortune. Once Chu Shaoran treated her better, she immediately softened her attitude and pounced on him. "Brother Wenlang, I don't want to live anymore." Xia Xiaoman looked at Ning Shu. "I feel that living is so painful, so painful." Ning Shu asked, "That man didn't come?" Xia Xiaoman's face twitched, and she looked a little agitated. "I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him." Ning Shu comforted Xia Xiaoman and turned to leave the hospital. She was here to see how long it would take. What a sin. After Mother Su left the ward, Ning Shu shook his head and said, "This girl is too silly." As soon as Ning Shu left the hospital, he met Chu Shaoran, who was holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand. The two of them bumped into each other. Chu Shaoran took off his sunglasses and looked at Ning Shu with raised eyebrows. "Lawyer Su, who are you here to see in the hospital?" "To see a friend." Ning Shu glanced at Chu Shaoran's crotch without leaving a trace. It was so fierce that Xia Xiaoman almost had a miscarriage. Chu Shaoran narrowed his eyes, and his aura suddenly became fierce. "Is that so?" Ning Shu walked past Chu Shaoran with an indifferent expression. She was not going to participate in the love between the two of them. Chapter 510. "Wait a minute, Lawyer Su." Chu Shaoran stopped Ning Shu when the two of them brushed past each other. Ning Shu turned his head and looked at Chu Shaoran. He was tall and handsome, holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand. Under the sunlight, he looked extremely handsome. Many passers-by looked at him. For words appeared in Ning Shu's mind. A beast in human clothing. He relied on his power and money to take advantage of others. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and asked, "Is there anything else, President Chu?" Chu Shaoran looked at him and said, "I heard that Lawyer Su has resigned. Have you thought about where you'll be working next?" Ning Shu felt quite speechless. His woman had a miscarriage, but he didn't care about her. Instead, he asked about her work. Ning Shu didn't think that Chu Shaoran was concerned about him. "I haven't thought about it yet. We'll talk about the future in the future," Ning Shu said. Chu Shaoran said casually, "I said last time that Lawyer Su can work under me. Since you've resigned, you can be my lawyer." Ning Shu felt that Chu Shaoran's words were filled with malice. He was just trying to humiliate her and Xia Xiaoman. Ning Shu didn't get angry and said politely, "Thank you for your kindness, President Chu. I don't think I'll be working for a while." Chu Shaoran smiled slightly, giving people a feeling of evil charm and cruelty. He was like Satan from hell, but he was also fatally charming. Xia Xiaoman should have submitted to Chu Shaoran. Coupled with Chu Shaoran's power and status, although such a man was hateful, he had a charm that women couldn't resist. She knew that there was a cliff in front of her, and that she might be smashed into pieces. But she still jumped down without hesitation. She was like a moth flying into a flame. However, when Ning Shu looked at Chu Xiaoran, she didn't feel anything. Was it because her soul and heart had become stronger? Or was it because of the calm halo and the mind-cleansing mantra? Ning Shu didn't feel anything when he saw Chu Xiaoran's evil smile. Ning Shu suspected that she had lost her sense of beauty. Really? When you want to work, you can come and find me. My phone number is on the business card I gave you last time. Lawyer Su, I really hope you can join my company. Chu Xiaoran said. The treatment is negotiable. I welcome capable people very much. Ning Shu smiled but didn't say anything. Chu Xiaoran turned around and left with the bouquet in his arms. He went to visit Xia Xiaoman, who had suffered a miscarriage. However, based on Xia Xiaoman's current state of mind, the two of them were probably going to get intimate again. Ning Shu turned around and drove back. Mother Su, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, said to Ning Shu, "Let's move." Seeing Xia Xiaoman like this, Mrs. Su knew that it was impossible between her son and Xia Xiaoman. Moreover, it was impossible for the Su family to take in a daughter-in-law who was someone else's mistress and had a miscarriage. When she was pregnant, she slept with a man and even lost the child. Mrs. Su used to think that Xia Xiaoman was a well-behaved child. She looked like a happy and adorable child. However, one couldn't judge a book by its cover. She did such a thing without saying a word. Ning Shu nodded. As long as the two elders of the Su family were willing to move, she would be able to go abroad to study in peace. The Su family sold the house as quickly as possible. When they were moving, Ning Shu met Xia Xiaoman, who had just returned from the hospital in the corridor. It was summer, but Xia Xiaoman was not only wearing long-sleeve clothes, but also a thin-down jacket and a hat on her head. Xia Xiaoman's face was very pale, and her eyes were dim. She looked listless, and there was an aura of sadness and despair all over her body. Xia Xiaoman was supported by Mother Xia. Mother Xia's face was trembling. She was angry and distressed for her daughter, and she also felt very embarrassed. Brother Wenlang, what are you guys? Xia Xiaoman asked Ning Shu. Her voice was weak and listless, which made people feel bad just by looking at her. We're preparing to move, Ning Shu said, and said politely and distantly, take good care of your body. You don't look very good. When Xia Xiaoman heard Ning Shu say that they were moving, her eyes showed reluctance and a trace of sadness. She felt that her life was gloomy, her child was gone, and now Brother Wenlang was going to leave. All of this was because of that devil-like man. Ning Shu saw Xia Xiaoman's expression. He didn't know what she was thinking. Her face was full of pain and despair, which made her pale face even paler. Her eyes were red, but she forced herself not to let tears fall. Ning Shu felt speechless. People like Xia Xiaoman, you don't have to do anything to her, and she can fall into the pain she created. She can torture herself over and over again, and feel that she is in pain very painful. Female protagonists of sadomasochistic novels are like this. They are always in pain, so painful that they want to die. They can always find things to make themselves feel uncomfortable. In this regard, Ning Shu couldn't understand at all. Ning Shu stayed in the hospital for more than 10 years. The pain of chemotherapy was unbearable. If he kept falling into pain at this time, it would definitely make him collapse. So things have already happened. He didn't work hard to get himself out of it, and he still destroyed himself over and over again. Ning Shu felt that this guy was simply sick. Xia Xiaoman forced a smile and said to Ning Shu, "It's good to move away. Brother Wenlang, I hope you are happy. You too. Nothing is more important than the body. The body is everything," Ning Shu said lightly. Xia Xiaoman didn't have any bad intentions, but she was a little self-righteous. She thought that what she did was for the good of others. She sacrificed herself to help others, but she didn't think about whether others would accept it or not. Brother Wenlang. Seeing that Ning Shu had left, Xia Xiaoman turned around and looked at Ning Shu. "I'm sorry." Ning Shu curled his lips and didn't say anything. Xia Xiaoman didn't just apologize to Su Wenlang. She still had another life. But Xia Xiaoman actually got together with Chu Xiaoran, who killed Su Wenlang. Xia Xiaoman was angry at first, but in the end, she was softened by Chu Xiaoran's tenderness. In the end, she even ran to Su Wenlong's grave and said that she couldn't forgive Chu Xiaoran, but she loved Chu Xiaoran. She wanted to forget the hurt in the past and be with Chu Xiaoran. It wasn't easy to find love in one's life. In the end, she even said, "Brother Wenlang, I have found happiness now. Bless me." This made Ning Shu spit out a mouthful of blood. Ning Shu turned around and left. If people like Xia Xiaoman ignored him, she could also humiliate herself. But in front of Chu Xiaoran, she had a strong self-esteem. Even if we slept together, I was forced. I am a person with dignity. The Su family's new house was bought in W City, which was next to T City. Chu Xiaoran didn't have much power in W City. Even if he wanted to interfere, there were many restrictions. Now he was hibernating to strengthen himself. Chapter 511. The Su family's new house was bigger than the previous one. Ning Shu added some money from the sale of the old house and bought a bigger house. She wanted the two elders of the Su family to live more comfortably. Su Wenlang, the person who entrusted the house, felt guilty towards his parents. He didn't fulfill his filial duty by letting them send off their children. Ning Shu wanted to fulfill his filial duty for the original owner of his body. The environment of the neighborhood was pretty good. There were many green belts and a city garden next to it. Su Wenlang spent more than half of the wedding fund that he had saved up for so long. Su Wenlong's father said that it was too expensive, but he was happy when he saw all kinds of exercise equipment in the neighborhood. There were also many old men playing chess and exercising. After the family settled down, Ning Shu started preparing to go abroad while studying the law. He had already contacted the school. What made Ning Shu nervous was that there might be a language barrier over there, and he would have to start over. He regretted not having enough knowledge when it came to using it. He felt like he was useless every time. If he started studying now, he would become a knowledgeable person one day. He would also be able to easily deal with small problems during missions. Mrs. Su made a sumptuous dinner. At the dining table, Mrs. Su kept putting food in Ning Shu's bowl. She looked reluctant and reminded Ning Shu, "Take good care of yourself when you go abroad. If you need money, call home. If you're having a hard time, come back." However, Mr. Su said, "Go abroad to train yourself. Study hard." Ning Shu accepted the concern of his parents. The next morning, Ning Shu went to the airport after his parents sent him off. Sitting on the plane and looking at the clouds outside the window, Ning Shu's mood was very calm. This was the first time she felt like she was fighting for herself during a mission. In the past, she was always thinking of ways to complete the mission. She only had the mission in her mind. But now, Ning Shu wanted to slow down and enrich herself. She wanted to learn and enrich herself. When the plane landed in the capital of a foreign country, Ning Shu started his busy studying life. Because of the language barrier, Ning Shu found it difficult to study. This is because lawyers are very strict when arguing with each other. If you don't pay attention, you will be caught by the other party. Especially when it comes to grammar in a foreign language. In order to master foreign languages as soon as possible, Ning Shu had to work as a waiter at the restaurant. Perhaps because Su Wenlang was good-looking, the restaurant accepted Ning Shu, a Chinese man. In school, Ning Shu basically didn't participate in the mock defense, because she couldn't even speak clearly. Defending was simply a joke. Ning Shu was exhausted every day. If it wasn't for the fact that he had to practice martial arts every day, Ning Shu would probably be lying on the ground. No matter how busy he was, Ning Shu had to practice martial arts every day. The bones of Chinese people were smaller than the bones of Westerners. They were easy to bully, so it was necessary to have a certain level of martial arts. Only by beating the other party down would they not dare to provoke you. Furthermore, in a country where guns were legal, Ning Shu had to ensure his own safety. Some cruel people wouldn't care if you were innocent or not, and would shoot you to death. In half a year, Ning Shu barely grasped a foreign language, and gradually started to participate in mock defense. Of course, the defense was based on the laws of the country he was in. In the beginning, Ning Shu lost more than he won, so he could only learn slowly. Ning Shu felt that in the future, he would only add attribute points to his wisdom and martial arts. He wouldn't care about the rest. Occasionally, Ning Shu would help the Chinese fight some small cases. The remuneration wasn't much. This allowed Ning Shu to gain some reputation among the lower-class Chinese. Those who came to Ning Shu to fight cases were the Chinese, who didn't have a good life. Ning Shu would symbolically collect some money. Of course, it was impossible for him to do it for free. If he did it for free, it would only make these people feel that it was natural. People always didn't care about things that they could get easily. Ning Shu had a faint idea in his heart. However, this idea wasn't mature yet, and required a plan. As his learning deepened, Ning Shu had basically grasped the defense routine. This allowed Ning Shu's success rate in mock defense classes to increase. The number of Chinese who came to Ning Shu to fight cases also increased. In fact, if the Chinese fought cases in other countries, the success rate wasn't very high. After all, the laws in this country were biased towards the Chinese. Ning Shu could only try his best to win this kind of biased case that hadn't even been heard yet. Now Ning Shu's mind was only filled with the law. The law. It was as if he had been possessed. This was the first time Ning Shu was so obsessed with something other than cultivating peerless martial arts. In the process of arguing, it wasn't just a test of one's reflexes and courage. More importantly, it was a test of one's calm heart. No matter what the situation was, one had to maintain rationality in order to turn defeat into victory. Ning Shu realized that in the process of arguing, Ning Shu didn't even need to chant the clear heart mantra to ensure his inner peace. As Ning Shu went to court more and more, many Chinese people asked Ning Shu to represent them. Ning Shu politely rejected them. He usually only represented the Chinese. Ning Shu also received an invitation from the embassy in China, asking Ning Shu to become the embassy's lawyer and deal with the Chinese who came to the embassy for help. Ning Shu gladly accepted this job. The embassy in China was backed by the country. It was absolutely glorious to have this work experience on his resume. The country's weapon couldn't be shown to others. Ning Shu didn't believe that Chu Xiaoran's ability could be stronger than the country's. In addition, Ning Shu used his own money to invest in a Chinese restaurant. The head chef was a man whom Ning Shu had helped in a lawsuit. Although he won the lawsuit by a narrow margin, he lost his job. Ning Shu invested in a Chinese restaurant for the couple. The business was pretty good. In addition, Ning Shu was the embassy's lawyer, so there were very few people who found trouble with the restaurant. Some people dared to bully the Chinese, but they didn't dare to openly go against the embassy and the country. This allowed Ning Shu to earn money. Ning Shu was pleasantly surprised that the money increased each time. After a period of time, Ning Shu actually had a lot of money in his hands. Ning Shu originally planned to return to China in 2 years, but it was delayed to 3 years. The stronger his foundation here, the easier it would be to deal with Chu Xiaoran when he returned. Ning Shu was now thinking about working hard in the embassy. He wanted to try his best to win the lawsuit for the Chinese who came to him for help under extremely unfair circumstances. When the 3 years were up, Ning Shu returned to China with a recommendation letter from the embassy. This recommendation letter was stamped with the embassy's seal and was more valuable than anything else. It represented the government's recognition of him. After getting off the plane, Ning Shu went home first. First, he comforted Mother Su, who had been crying for a long time. Then he said to Father Su, who was holding back his excitement, "Dad, I'm back." "It's good that you're back." Father Su nodded. Mother Su prepared a lot of food for Ning Shu. She kept saying that Ning Shu had suffered outside, and told Ning Shu to eat more. Ning Shu ate all the food that Mother Su gave her. However, when Ning Shu saw that the 2 elders of the Su family were in good health, she heaved a sigh of relief. Although the 2 elders kept saying that everything was fine when they called, Ning Shu was still a little worried. Chapter 512. Because of the jet lag, Ning Shu was dispirited for several days. After he recovered, Ning Shu planned to go to T-City. When Mother Su heard that her son was going to T-City, she quickly asked, "Are you going to see Xia Xiaoman?" Ning Shu was a little stunned. Mom, I almost forgot. I'm going back to see my former boss and some colleagues. It's fine even if I see Xia Xiaoman. When he was abroad, Ning Shu did not pay attention to the matter between Chu Xiaoran and Xia Xiaoman, nor did he have any channels to find out. The main purpose of returning to T-City this time was to find out how the two of them were doing. After about a few hours of driving, Ning Shu returned to T-City. First, he went to visit the boss of the law firm. The two of them also went to have a meal. The boss asked Ning Shu, "What are your plans this time?" Ning Shu could tell that the boss did not want to invite him back to the law firm, which meant that he still had scruples in his heart. Ning Shu said, "I have some money on hand, and I plan to open a law firm." The boss nodded and looked a little disappointed. "You're a good lawyer. It's a pity. Forget it, let's not talk about this. Where do you plan to open the law firm?" "T-City," Ning Shu said. The boss frowned. "You may not be able to walk in T-City. Besides, the two of us will really become rivals in the same industry." "We can cooperate," Ning Shu said. "Wen Lang, someone is pressuring you behind your resignation. Why do you still want to stay in T-City? It's the same in other cities." The boss said. On the one hand, it was because there were indeed people who wanted to deal with Wen Lang. On the other hand, he did not want a competitor to appear. Ning Shu just shook his head and did not speak. After the meal, Ning Shu went to find out more about Chu Xiaoran and Xia Xiaoman. In 3 years, Chu Xiaoran and Xia Xiaoman's relationship changed from underground to public. Xia Xiaoman changed from a mistress to a girlfriend. Occasionally, Chu Xiaoran would take Xia Xiaoman to parties. However, there were still a lot of problems between the two of them. Chu Xiaoran was the kind of man that all women wanted to get close to. Naturally, there would be a lot of women around him. It was as if they were trying to plot against him. These women naturally framed and mocked Chu Xiaoran's real girlfriend, Xia Xiaoman. These women deliberately got intimate with Chu Xiaoran, or rolled around together to make Xia Xiaoman sad. Xia Xiaoman was the kind of person who would not voice out her grievances, and would only feel sad on her own. She would then ignore Chu Xiaoran. Chu Xiaoran was infuriated by her behavior. He then forced Xia Xiaoman onto the ground, and began to move passionately. Xia Xiaoman felt even sadder. Chu Xiaoran had already slept with another woman, and he still wanted to take her body. Anyway, the two of them were extremely awkward. They seemed to have feelings for each other, but they were also hurting each other. No, it was more like Chu Xiaoran was hurting Xia Xiaoman emotionally and physically. But even so, Xia Xiaoman still stayed by Chu Xiaoran's side for 3 years. Her body and mind were damaged. Every time Xia Xiaoman was hurt and decided to leave, Chu Xiaoran would tie her up and bring her back. There was nothing that could not be solved with one round of sex. If there was, they would do it twice. That was how Xia Xiaoman and Chu Xiaoran got along. Then they would start a period of sweet times. Not long after, some other women would come out and make Xia Xiaoman sad again. The cycle repeated itself endlessly. Ning Shu let out a long breath. Damn it, I feel so tired just hearing about it. Are these two not tired at all? Ning Shu shook his head. Ning Shu did not sympathize with Xia Xiaoman at all. Chu Xiaoran had hurt her so much, but she could not bear to leave him. Who else would she hurt if not you? Su Wenlang was really miserable. Every time Xia Xiaoman got hurt, she would come to Su Wenlang and cry. She would cry and ask Su Wenlang to take her away. She could not stand it anymore, and would come to Su Wenlang for treatment. After her injuries were healed, she would return to Chu Xiaoran's side. After understanding these things, Ning Shu did not pay attention to the two of them anymore. Seeing them hurt each other so much, Ning Shu was very happy. Ning Shu began to set up her own law firm. She chose a better location. For the time being, she was the only one in the law firm. She hired a young girl who would serve tea and organize documents. It was impossible to receive a big case right from the start. Ning Shu went to T-City's government and took out the recommendation letter from the embassy. She said that she planned to set up a law firm, and that the law firm would be a semi-profitable charity organization. The law firm would provide free legal advice for people who were in financial difficulties. Ning Shu wanted to inform the government in advance. The government supported such organizations. With the recommendation letter from Ning Shu's embassy, Ning Shu was able to get a business license very quickly. It was really not easy to set up a law firm on her own. Ning Shu contacted the embassy's lawyer and said that if anyone returned to China, they could come to her law firm to take a look. Ning Shu invited many people to attend her opening ceremony. Ning Shu did not expect that there would be people from the government who would attend the opening ceremony. In fact, it could be said that the law firm was backed by the government. In the beginning, only people who heard that the law firm would be free came to the law firm. Ning Shu verified the family conditions of these people. If they were really poor, Ning Shu would keep her promise and free the law firm. After a while they gained some reputation. A few more lawyers came to the law firm, and it looked like they were on the right track. Ning Shu occasionally went back to attend banquets to expand her network. She would meet Chu Xiaoran and Xia Xiaoman. Xia Xiaoman was wearing an expensive gown and dazzling jewelry. She had a blissful look on her face as Chu Xiaoran held her arm. Ning Shu narrowed his eyes and looked at the high-spirited Chu Xiaoran. Various thoughts flashed through his mind. Chu Xiaoran felt that someone was looking at him with a scrutinizing gaze. There was also a hint of hostility. Chu Xiaoran turned around and saw Ning Shu. He was stunned for a moment and pulled Xia Xiaoman over to Ning Shu. Xia Xiaoman was confused at first. When she saw Ning Shu, a trace of uneasiness flashed across her face. She wanted to pull her hand out of Chu Xiaoran's hand, but Chu Xiaoran grabbed it tightly. "Lawyer Su, it seems that we haven't seen each other for a long time." Chu Xiaoran looked at Ning Shu and narrowed his eyes slightly. This man looked more mature than before, as if he had settled down. Chu Xiaoran actually felt that he could not see through him. This feeling made Chu Xiaoran very unhappy. He originally thought that this man would come to him and beg him to give him a job, but he did not expect that he would disappear for so long. Now that he saw this man again, Chu Xiaoran felt unhappy and uneasy. Ning Shu glanced at Xia Xiaoman, who had exquisite makeup, and said to Chu Xiaoran, "It seems to have been quite a long time. President Chu, how have you been?" Chu Xiaoran looked at the calm Ning Shu and reached out to hold Xia Xiaoman's shoulder. He said to Ning Shu provocatively, "Let me introduce you to my girlfriend, Xia Xiaoman." Chapter 513. Chu Xiaoran introduced Xia Xiaoman to Ning Shu. Was there a need for an introduction? Su Wenlang and Xia Xiaoman had known each other for more than 10 years and had spent more time together than the two of them. Chu Xiaoran did it on purpose. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and reached out his hand to Xia Xiaoman calmly. "Hello." Xia Xiaoman's face flashed with sadness when she saw her brother Wenlang's reaction, but she still reached out to shake hands with Ning Shu. However, Chu Xiaoran grabbed Ning Shu's hand first. Chu Xiaoran held Ning Shu's hand tightly. Seeing that Ning Shu was expressionless, he tightened his grip. Ning Shu smiled calmly and held Chu Xiaoran's hand tightly. Chu Xiaoran's expression changed immediately, and he let go of Ning Shu's hand. Chu Xiaoran's eyebrows were filled with anger and displeasure, but there was a sinister smile on his lips. "Lawyer Su, you're really an interesting person. Let's keep in touch with each other in the future. I like interesting people like you." Ning Shu nodded. "We'll definitely keep in touch with each other in the future." Even Xia Xiaoman could feel that the atmosphere between the two of them was not quite right. She pulled Chu Xiaoran away. The moment Chu Xiaoran turned around, his face became extremely sullen. His face turned black, and his eyes were filled with coldness, anger, and prying. He said sharply to Xia Xiaoman, "Are you very happy that your old lover is back?" Xia Xiaoman staggered twice and looked at Chu Xiaoran in disbelief. "How can you say that? I didn't think so at all. Don't slander me. You keep glancing at your old lover, and you still say that there's nothing between you and him? Do you think I'm blind? Why? Are you trying to rekindle your old flame?" Chu Xiaoran's expression was full of contempt and sarcasm. Xia Xiaoman was hurt by the expression on Chu Xiaoran's face. Why did Chu Xiaoran always say such hurtful words without restraint? Ning Shu took a glass of red wine from the table and sipped it while looking at Chu Xiaoran and Xia Xiaoman. Previously, the atmosphere between the two of them was quite good. But now, they seemed to be in conflict again. Xia Xiaoman had a bitter expression on her face, as if she had suffered a great grievance. She looked like a little wife who had been bullied, which made people feel suffocated. If Ning Shu considered himself a man, he would definitely not like Xia Xiaoman with such a bitter face. Xia Xiaoman was clearly happy before. At least, she was happy when she was with Su Wenlang. But now, Xia Xiaoman was no longer happy, only pain and helplessness after being destroyed. If this was what Xia Xiaoman thought of as love, Ning Shu had nothing to say. Ning Shu finished the red wine and turned to leave. During this period of time, Ning Shu was not only busy with the law firm, but also took time to visit the two elders of the Su family. Currently, the law firm was in a relatively idle state, and more people came to consult for free. Brother Wenlang. When Ning Shu lowered his head to look at the documents, he heard Xia Xiaoman's voice and thought it was an auditory hallucination. Ning Shu looked up and saw Xia Xiaoman. He asked, "How did you find this place?" Xia Xiaoman smiled and looked at the surrounding environment. She said to Ning Shu happily, "Brother Wenlang, congratulations on having your own law firm." Ning Shu nodded and asked, "Why are you here? How did you find this place?" "Brother Wenlang, you probably don't know that your law firm is already very famous. I just asked around a little and found out," Xia Xiaoman said with a light tone, as if she was happy for Ning Shu. Ning Shu didn't think that Xia Xiaoman was here to talk to her about this. Ning Shu poured a glass of water for Xia Xiaoman and asked indifferently, "Why are you here this time?" Xia Xiaoman saw that Ning Shu's attitude was cold and looked a little hurt. She asked, "Brother Wenlang, do you still blame me in your heart?" No. Ning Shu did not know what Xia Xiaoman meant. "Brother Wenlang, I know that I let you down. We should have gotten married, but because of me, I made you sad. Brother Wenlang, I'm sorry." Xia Xiaoman's face was filled with guilt and helplessness. Ning Shu shook his head. "Those are all things in the past. I don't take it to heart. You will also have your own happiness. We're both passers-by in life." Ning Shu was very impatient. Why did Xia Xiaoman come all the way here to say something? Ning Shu felt that Xia Xiaoman was quite silly to come all the way here. If Chu Shaoran knew about this, he would give her another round of abuse. Chu Shaoran's punishment method was to make her unable to get out of bed. It seemed that this punishment method actually made Xia Xiaoman happy. "What exactly do you want from me?" Ning Shu pinched the space between his eyebrows and asked. He really did not want to see Xia Xiaoman's bitter face. Seeing her guilty look made him feel bad. Xia Xiaoman always said sorry, but it did not mean that she really knew that she was wrong. Xia Xiaoman just habitually said sorry. As for what she was thinking in her heart, no one knew. "Brother Wenlang." Xia Xiaoman bit her lips tightly. She looked like she wanted to say something, but found it difficult to speak. Her face was so twisted that it was unbearable to look at. Ning Shu wiped his face and did not look at Xia Xiaoman's face. "Tell me what's the matter? Brother Wenlang, please help me." Xia Xiaoman seemed to have thrown caution to the wind and said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu's body trembled, and he looked at Xia Xiaoman. "Is she here for my help?" "Brother Wenlang, I'm really tired. I want to leave Chu Shaoran. I'm already exhausted." Xia Xiaoman wanted to grab Ning Shu's hand and beg him, but Ning Shu dodged. "Leave if you want," Ning Shu said calmly. "What's the point of telling me?" Xia Xiaoman shook her head and looked bitter. "Brother Wenlang, this matter is not that simple. Chu Shaoran not only has my nude photos, but also the video." Ning Shu. Oofed. Ning Shu looked surprised and asked, "You're already boyfriend and girlfriend now. Why didn't he give these to you or destroy them?" Ning Shu's lips twitched. Looking at Xia Xiaoman's tired face, there were only two words in his heart. "Serves you right. Serves you right." Xia Xiaoman's inaction allowed Chu Shaoran to bully her without any worries. She never thought of resisting, and silently endured it. If he didn't bully her, who would he bully? It was intolerable if he didn't bully her. Now he's here to ask me for help again. Ning Shu felt that this guy is here to trick me again. She was infinitely tolerant towards the male lead, but the unlucky ones were always the ones who were nice to her. She really treated the male lead as her first love, even if he tortured her thousands of times. She was simply too cheap. Ning Shu hated Xia Xiaoman very much. "He didn't give me the things." Xia Xiaoman looked at Ning Shu. "Brother Wenlang, I want you to help me fight a lawsuit and help me get these things back. Ning Shu didn't even look up and said calmly, "This lawsuit is not easy to fight. Since your boyfriend and girlfriend, Chu Xiaoran can be said to be your romantic interest. If you really want to leave Chu Xiaoran, you can just leave. Why go through so much trouble?" You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.